Hey, what's up, and welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 4, Episode 19. Today we're talking about Bad Moon from 1996, directed by Eric Red. I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor Bad Moon Rising McGraw.
And I'm CB Smith.
Welcome to the dumpster.
That was the best I can come up with in the fucking heat of the moment. God damn it.
I see a bad moon rising. Yeah, John Fogerty, Connor Fogerty McGraw. Yeah!
I would accept it, Connor Goodest Boy McGraw.
You know, I was...
Welcoming CB Smith back to the show. How the hell are you?
Oh, it's been super busy, but the spooky season is now upon us, and I have gotten all of my pumpkin spice for the week.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
And then get more next week.
I got some pumpkin spice Twinkies, pumpkin spice Kit Kats, pumpkin spice coffee, pumpkin spice... well, that's about it, yeah.
Yeah.
See, these two are secretly blonde white girls?
It's true.
Well, I am blondish, so... half right.
I just like pumpkin everything. I'm Halloween boy through and through.
I like pumpkin pie, and that's where I draw the line. That's it. I don't like pumpkin in anything else.
Now, here's the funny thing. I only eat pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Ooh.
Huh.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that, though, just based on the way this conversation's going, I think it's 3-1, Connor.
Oh, shit. I'm alone.
I freaking make homemade pumpkin pie. It's great.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dude. Oh, if we ever get together for like a Friendsgiving or something, dude, I make a fireball pumpkin pie.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Us non-alcoholics would call that cinnamon.
Yeah. Well, it all cooks off.
You somehow offered me the best transition. Like, my thing for Halloween and, like, fall is apple cider.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I go to.
No, yeah, it's fine.
Well, and people, like, it's funny because when you realize you work with a bunch of people from the West Coast, because they're like, I'm like, you guys drink apple cider? They go, yeah. I'm like, you drink it hot? They go, what?
What? Yeah, well, it's hot out, Connor. God damn it.
Apple cider? What's wrong with you? I was like, what do you mean? You put cinnamon in it? You fucking throw it in the microwave?
They have never experienced a crisp fall night with some nice hot cider in their hand, dude.
Yeah, well, and like it's like there's like orchards and stuff out here, so you can go apple picking. But I'm like, yeah, but what's your idea of apple picking? Because my idea of apple picking is going into a dense brush where just like where civilization and I have broken up, and I can just flee from my family and start climbing trees and knocking apples the size of my heads out of trees.
What apple farm have you been to?
The ones in the guts of New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. You've been to all the wrong ones.
I am with Connor on that one. I've climbed into apple trees and dropped a whole bunch on my friends' heads while they chuck them at my head while in the tree.
Yeah, apple picking is the fucking best. Like when you get to this like just giant dense piece of property where it's like the owner's like, yeah, I don't give a shit, whatever, go buy what you want, just come into the general store and buy some pie on your way out.
And I do.
Speaking of apple cider, real quick, this is coming out at the end of September, so we're right up on October, guys. We're almost getting ready for Trick or Trash, but you know what? Let me help you out here. You can pause this recording right after I tell you how to make this, right? Go get yourself some apple cider. You're going to make a stone wall. That's what this drink is called. You get the apple cider, you get some bourbon, a little bit of mint leaves, some ice. Now you're talking. Nice fall drink. And then listen to some Bad Moon. What do you say?
The other alternative is to take some Fireball, like Joe mentioned, and just dump it into a bottle of apple Angry Orchard and just wait until your bowels explode.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good drink.
You will vomit.
I'm just a simple man with simple tastes. I have some apple. I got some apple wine in the fridge. I'll drink to that.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
That sounds pretty scrumptious.
Yeah.
Now I just want some more mead. Fuck.
But yeah. Oh, dude, sign me up for mead. Yeah.
Actually, that's what it is. It's just mead.
Oh, yes. I'm gonna find that.
Mead's so good.
But yeah. So that was our fall culinary talk.
We are human beings outside of watching these movies and reading these books.
Yeah, go figure, right? Yeah, we do things. Well, some of us. Others are locked in a cage. I don't know. Wait, what am I talking about? Anyway, CB.
With Dobby? Are you talking about Dobby, by the way?
Maybe.
I can't do anything. I'm immobile. I have no muscle mass.
CB Smith joins us back in a Maine line episode, guys. This is no book to the movie. This ain't your grandma's book to the movie, all right? This is Movie Dumpster mainline episode 419. What is cooking, dude? Glad to have you back because now we can bullshit. We all watched the movie. You had read the novel, which we'll get into. But how the hell's it hanging? What have you been working on? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on my channel. It is called CB Smith, or as one commenter put it in one of my videos, I am the book to the movie guy.
Book to the movie guy.
Reputation precedes me.
Is that a bad title or is that a good title for you?
I accept that title.
Okay.
With full honors. Right now, I'm working on a very, very big project for Halloween. Unfortunately, I don't even think it's going to be able to come out by then on Dracula. Similar treatment that I did to Frankenstein last year, including culminating at the end with the sequel to Frankenstein Unbound, Dracula Unbound, by the same author.
I went to 1700s Romania and I had sex with Bram Stoker. I sure did.
After I killed the last living humans on Earth for fun with a Gatling gun attached to my car. According to the book, at least.
Yeah.
I need the escapades of fucking Joe Buchanan bumping around. Wait, well, is he in Ireland? Because that's where Bram Stoker's from, right?
Stoker is Irish, but he spent most of his time in England.
Okay, so he's bopping around, what, England?
Yeah, he's bopping around England. He's never actually been to Romania. He just read a bunch of travel books when he wrote Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people did that shit back. Smith and I briefly talked about people writing around that time period and how all the hearsay kind of shit and tall tales and stuff got around. Anyway.
But yeah, check back on my channel in a couple weeks, maybe a month from now. I will be putting up the first video, which will be the Universal Dracula, and then Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola version, and then finally culminating to Dracula Unbound, a little special treat since there actually is no video adaptation of that one.
Oh, that's a Snickers for sure. Yeah, man. For me anyway, I'm looking forward to biting into that, sticking that fucking Snickers bar right in my ears and eyes.
It's like a deep fried Snickers, honestly. It's like an extra treat.
Could be. Yeah. Pumpkin spice deep fried Snickers.
Oh, man.
Oh, that sounds vile.
I'd stick it in my mouth.
Yeah.
Put it in me.
Oh, yes, sir.
Shut up and stick it in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
His famous last words. But that's so cool. We're really looking forward to that, and very proud of you growing your channel, young man, and your Patreon. Where can everybody find your Patreon stuff?
If you want to support me so I can get better equipment to not have more technical difficulties, you can support my channel at patreon.com/CB Smith taking a page.
Hell yes. Head over to that Patreon, support him. The guy does great work. CB does fantastic work. He's very dedicated to his craft and reading all these books for you folks and giving his thoughtful, insightful opinions. Sans all of the dirtiness that you get in this show. So you can have an actual academic with funny jokes and him not talking about, fucking John Hurt. Or John Hurt fucking Bram Stoker, rather, you know what I'm saying?
Or Cumdar, or cum in general.
Are you sure? Because I was
gonna say, I don't know, man.
I get on my fair share of dirty jokes. One of my most watched videos is a porno from the 60s. Like
the smut. Everybody wants the smut, right?
I mean, I guess he doesn't go so low as, Corpse Fucker and Cumdar.
Yeah.
And Lubbed in the Leprechaun, but
he's a little bit more eloquent with his humor.
The funny thing about that is that, like, I've been so resistant because I think the entire idea of Cumdar is fucking revolting.
That's the joke.
But then like on Phantom Zone, we spend 30 minutes talking about Don't Breathe 2 and how that guy had mason jars full of his own jizz. So maybe it's just like, this is what the gods have mapped out for me or something.
You know what's funny about that? That's like Cumdar's origin story, right? We said he was a homunculus. Okay, so he was the blind guy's cum that he poured into a fucking a log and put under his house. And turned into Kumdar, yeah.
Well, and they tore down that house, and then they built a factory over, and years later, some old guy was walking past the factory at night.
This is true.
And there was this white shit coming out of the ground, and he just started eating it. And he said, this is some good stuff.
Man, this tastes good. This is some good stuff, TM. Mmm.
See, the content I make is much more wholesome. We don't do Kumdar. We have What Are You Doing, Step Bro, in reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Of course.
I'm stuck, Step Bro.
Oh, no.
But Bad Moon.
Bad Moon. Yeah, you're a bad moon.
Look, guys, I don't know about y'all, but I've been waiting a long time to talk about this film. I think this has been on the docket for almost 2 years. Like, we were like, oh, it's not time, or like, we want to do that, and then everything just kind of aligned with CB, and it was like, oh yeah, this is based on a novel, and then we were like, well, let's do a book to the movie. Well, why don't we do it as a full episode where we talk about the movie and the book, but not book to the movie, like a mainline episode.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think my excitement is feeding into the silliness because, like, I am... Like, legitimately, guys, like, I'm hyped as fuck. I fucking love this movie. I don't want to give away my hand, but, like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. Spoilers. It fucking rules.
Yeah, this is something I found, like, at A to Z that we've mentioned before in Tom's River, New Jersey, where, like, I brought it home based on, like, a cover that was just, like, it's super simple, but just fucking rad.
Oh, yeah.
And then I looked in the back, and I'm like, that is the coolest werewolf 15-year-old Connor has ever seen in his fucking life. And I have to see this right now.
It's one of the coolest posters. Connor. Like,
yeah, this movie is just fucking cool.
I'm echoing that sentiment with you, dude. Like, before I moved to Tom's River, I lived in Brick. And there was a...
You had Video Superstore.
Well, yeah. Well, it was a... what the fuck was it? It was...
Brick had a Hollywood Video and a Blockbuster at one point.
I think it might have been a Hollywood Video. I think it was Hollywood Video, and it was in the plaza where my mom used to work. There was like a Pearl Vision or some shit over there by the Pathmark, and there was like a Kmart over there. I think the Kmart's still there.
It was a Barnes & Noble there. It's still there. I actually worked there occasionally.
Not that one.
Oh, not that. There's another Hollywood Video. Okay.
Yeah, there was another Hollywood Video in... it was off Old Squan. It was by Old Squan Road in Route 88. Right?
Okay.
And it was, I'm trying to remember this, like, specifically. There was, like, now there's, like, a Bonefish Grill or some shit there and some other eye place.
I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about.
Dude, Comics Plus. There used to be a fucking Comics Plus in the Kmart Plaza that I used to go to as a kid, and it was a giant comic book store, like, giant. I used to get, like, Beavis and Butthead comics and shit from there. But yeah, the Hollywood Video, dude, I remember seeing this trailer like a few times that summer or whenever this came out or when it was supposed to come out. And I was like, shit, dude, I need to see this movie. And then I didn't go see it in the theaters, which was strange because I usually got to go see like the R-rated movies. I saw Blair Witch, for Christ's sake, and some others. I mean, this was 96, but...
wasn't going to happen in my house.
Yeah. Well, my aunt would take me, my mom would take me, etc., etc. But I remember renting this from that Hollywood Video, and... Man, when you walk up on it, that fucking werewolf mouth is agape with the moon for the eye, and in that script font, it looks like Bram Stoker's Dracula font almost.
It does, yeah.
Man, I remember renting that and bringing it home and just being like, holy shit. Like, this werewolf is my favorite werewolf in all of cinema, okay?
There's a handful that are really good, but the thing is, like, this one doesn't have, to me, the weakness of the longer you look at it, the more flaws you see. Like, this is the longer you look at it, you're like, I'm lost in how scary that thing is in a primal way.
It's fucking terrifying.
It is the most ghoulish, terrifying, intense, wide-eyed werewolf I've ever seen. Like, that's all practical.
It's got this wild look to it that I just can't pin down, and it's like primal fear I have of this thing, right? We're gonna get into the effects, but you brought it up right now, Connor. You said that, in broad daylight, Eric Wright wanted this thing to be just as terrifying in stark light as it was in the shadows. So they nailed it.
Yeah.
I actually I have a Hollywood Video story to go with Joe where I saw this on the shelf, and I was a little kid, and the workers there, they didn't care. I had the money, they rented it to me. I did not see this movie until today.
So what happened?
So what happened was I chose instead to watch a movie that was called Blood Moon, which has a very similar cover to it. A wolf and the moon and the font on it. It was renamed to Wolf Girl. It is a little indie Canadian movie where Tim Curry plays a circus ringmaster for a freak show. And it revolves around a girl who has that genetic issue where she has hair all over her body, so she dresses up as a wolf girl. Then she takes a experimental drug that gets rid of the hair, but the more she takes it, the more hair she loses, the more wolf-like she becomes.
Oh, well, that's kind of interesting.
It's much more of an art film. I was really, really into it. And before I got to see Bad Moon, that Hollywood Video closed down.
Wow. So this is funny because when you're describing this to me or to us in the chat, I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean, Howling 5, The Freaks? Or Howling 6, The Freaks? Whatever. I think it's 5 or 6. Because that has, a circus sideshow and fucking werewolves. There's a wolf guy in the sideshow and shit. Mm-hmm. And then I thought it was New Moon Rising, which was another Howling movie. I think the last canonical sequel before they rebooted it with
the kids from Degrassi.
Yeah, they made that show, the Howling show or whatever.
Hemlock Grove?
No, not Hemlock Grove. It was or Teen Wolf, or maybe I'm fucking this up. Maybe it's Teen Wolf.
You're thinking Teen Wolf. Yeah, they made a TV show, but there was.
Careful, Arlen Harrow will come tumbling through my wall because he's closer to me, and he'll start spouting about Teen Wolf.
I'm here for Michael J. Fox and what's his face from Arrested Development,
and he'll be like, Tyler Hoechlin's great.
No, I'm good.
I'm here to remind the listeners that we're talking about Arlen Harrow from the Phantom Zone podcast.
Sean is sitting there with a notebook.
I hope he appreciates that joke when he finally makes it through, because he'll message me occasionally, Arlen. And again, if you don't know already, I'm making this a bit of a bit at this point, but he's been on our Wraith episode and our Green Lantern episode. But he'll occasionally message me yeah, okay, I started going through the episodes again, and I'm catching up. And I'm like, oh, you didn't get to that episode yet, Arlen? Huh? We mentioned you.
That's fucking hilarious.
So he might hear this a year from now, but I hope he's enjoying it.
Hey, I'm sure when he gets to it, he's gonna like it.
Oh yeah,
he'll 6 months from now he'll be like, Tyler Hoechlin is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're just gonna get a fucking DM that says that. You're gonna be like, what?
What? Yeah.
But yeah, I thought you were talking about New Moon Rising, which was again that last Howling sequel, and it has a similar cover, but not nearly as fucking cool.
Fun fact: Howling is based off of a book as well.
Oh yeah, dude, Gary Bradner's The Howling, right?
Oh yeah, there's 3 Howling books, but I don't think the Howling movies do anything with the sequel books. I have the first book on my shelf.
You do? I've been after that, dude, for a long time.
I got it for cheap. I don't know how much it is now, but speaking of book prices and going back to what we're supposed to be talking about, Sean, you gave me the first edition copy of Thor, which is...
Sean, Joe gave you the first edition copy of that. Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Joe.
Look, there's a lot of times where people say shit like that, and I let it slide, but not this time.
I'm sorry, Joe. It's late for me.
You're good.
Joe.
Yes?
You gave me the first edition copy of the book. I very much enjoyed it. You told me to take care of it, and I tried my best.
What does that mean? Did you spill coffee on it or something? Don't tell me that, Smith.
Never. It is untouched.
You read it with gloves on, right?
I read it with care.
I'm just busting your chops, dude.
He was eating chicken fingers. He had grease all over him.
Oh, fuck, man. There's greasy fingerprints. There's the fucking spine is all cracked and shit. Yeah, thanks, Smith.
You're welcome.
Spilled some of his spaghetti and meatballs in there.
I brought it to work. I read on my lunch break, but I was careful. And then I saw the price of the paperback. I didn't see the price for the hardcover yet. It was $900 for the paperback. I was like, fuck, Joe, what did you... Is this another Child's Play 3 situation?
Who did you kill?
Look, I did not spend over $100 on that Child's Play 3 novel, P.S.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't spend over $100, but the Thor one that you hold in your hands or that you've read, that one was, I think I got it for like $20. But again, like I'm such a huge fan of this movie. When I knew it was a book when I was a kid, or maybe not a kid, but like a little bit older, when I was able to have like a bank account and have like an eBay account and all that kind of shit. What was that, like 2005-ish? I got it for like $20 on eBay. Somebody was selling it. And I hadn't read it. So Smith is actually the first person after it came to me to read the book. So I haven't even read it yet.
And I apologize for spoilers up ahead, but we are going to talk about it.
No, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Fine, considering, like, from what I understand, like, I even was bullshitting about this with you guys, like, last week. I was like, oh, yeah, that character. You're like, they don't exist in the movie. I'm like, oh, well, that's why I don't remember them.
Yeah, I kept dropping stuff throughout the week of things of just like...
Yeah, because he was asking me about the cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not even.
We'll get to that.
Okay, I'm gonna front load this because I'm the dude here who works in the veterinary field. I'm gonna have some things to say about some good and bad things to say about the dog in this movie. And I'm probably gonna have some insight on some of this weird shit that CB has just uncovered. But like, I'm just front loading people. Like, I might have some hot takes regarding how this movie was made.
I totally get it. And on that note, CB, make sure that fucking book stays in nice condition because I need something to leave to my wife when I die, okay? All right?
Wow!
I understand. I have first edition and signed copies, yeah.
You know, she's got to be able to take all my fucking bullshit that I spend money on and cash it in for actual money.
Oh, he left me with this pile of fucking movies.
Yeah, well, I told Jules, I was like, honey, this is worth this is worth this is, you know, I'm kind of walking her through the motions.
Oh my God. Going through the video dungeon.
I mean, Jesus Christ, what happens if I get hit by a truck tomorrow? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway. At least there will be a fruitful bounty in her future. Anyway.
Just bury me in the trash.
Let's get... Well, I'm going to be thrown in the trash. But let's get into some of the... I want to get into some of the backstory of this film. So it's directed by Eric Red, okay? This is the guy who writes the original Hitcher and Near Dark.
Oh, shit, Near Dark?
Yeah, he wrote... Well, he didn't direct it. He wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those are bangers, the original Hitcher and Near Dark. And he wrote and directed Body Parts, which I keep, well, maybe not keep bringing up, but we've talked about it before, especially I think on the Lawnmower Man episode, because Jeff Fahey gets like a fucking arm transplant from a serial killer, and hilarity ensues. We need to fucking do that flick.
Sign me up. More Jeff Fahey, more Job on the show.
Job gets a new arm.
Oh, yeah, man.
The one when Job gets a new arm.
Yeah.
The Always Sunny theme is playing over that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he needs that so he can pick up the telephone and make that call, yeah.
Right, yeah, his war cry.
His body turned into a fucking raisin. He needs more than a new arm.
Don't worry, he gets new legs and all kinds of shit. We'll get to it.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right, the restoration of Job.
But yeah, so spoilers, this is based on a novel called Thor, written by Wayne Smith.
No relation.
Are you sure? You should take that credit, dude, especially if the novel was good. Be like, yeah, he's my cousin.
I am related to like maybe one Smith in the world, and that is it.
Well, somebody's related to Ernest Hemingway in this movie, and we'll get to it.
Oh, I did not know that.
I mean, some of this podcast is somehow related to George R.R. Martin. So
you?
Yeah.
Really?
What?
I didn't know that.
I can't believe I haven't told the story in this show on this part of the with CB.
No, tell the story, motherfucker.
We were literally joking about this motherfucker before we went on air.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. This is one of those things where I'm like, I've told this story where my brain is like, yeah, you probably did that. You just forgot about it.
The movie Dumpster. This is a virgin story. So here we go.
My grandpa is cousins, like distant cousins with George R.R. Martin's like sister or something. Like the relationship is very it's very thin and starts way at the top of our family trees, but it's there. And I can't remember the woman who's it's like my great aunt or like one of my great relatives is one of his relatives. And like I guess my dad even like contacted him once. He was like, hey, we have like a thin blood relation. Like I'm an aspiring writer. Like, but any advice? And he's like, just write, which is the funniest thing coming from Martin because Martin doesn't fucking write. He just fucking wastes his fucking time.
I love that interview he has with him and Stephen King. They're doing like a author-to-author thing in front of a crowd, and he just goes to Stephen. I think I've probably even mentioned it on the show before, but he goes to Stephen King. He's like, "How the hell do you write so much? How do you get so much done?"
And King's just like, he just writes.
How does he get so much done in between those baseball games?
Yeah.
I have to, if I can, I'll get back into my dad's Ancestry account and find the. It's someone who was basically they both came up in this like my grandparents' relatives and his relatives came up in Bayonne together.
Oh wow!
So like there's a relation there. So now I'll dig up the woman. I think her name is Jane something. The woman who's basically like the link in our families.
Oh man, you should send him an email and be like, "Hey, so I'm getting a piece of your will, right?"
Yeah, I think my dad. You know, he may not have told me this, but I'm sure my dad's already barked up that tree. And I'm sure he was unsuccessful.
I've just busted balls, but hey, it never hurts. You should just reach out to him and be like, "Life advice."
I get I go out to my front step one day and there's just like 2 packages and it's fucking what is it? Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. Like they're just done. Like he finishes Game of Thrones again.
Just leaves you the only copies.
I wrote these for you, Connor. These are my manuscripts.
He gives me the manuscripts. I'm just like, haha, HBO, fucking pay me.
And then you spill coffee all over them.
That's exactly what would happen. I got like 10 rats would come to my doorstep and just tear it apart. I'd be like, what the fuck? I've been betrayed.
Dude, you would have fucking FBI agents fucking kicking your door down for those goddamn things.
Yeah, who like the fucking head of Warner Brothers, what's his name? Fuck, I can't remember his name. He'd be like, he'd have me like unconscious in his office within the hour. He's like, so.
Oh yeah, man, he's sending somebody after you to fucking wrangle you.
Our streaming service needs content. We can't have a Snyder Cut every year.
Give me those manuscripts, you devil.
Benioff and Wise are like, please, sir, we have some more.
I mean, my lame claim to fame to Martin is that I was also born in Bayonne, and that was about it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I moved all over New Jersey.
Oh, that's interesting. We're very everybody's very very close. We all have origins in North Jersey.
Well, no, I'm from Central. Never been to North. Never from the North.
I'm sure your folks have connections up north.
I'm a sweet summer child, just to keep the Game of Thrones reference going.
You're definitely from King's Landing.
You guys want to know who else is from Jersey?
Who?
Wayne Smith.
Oh, is he really?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's a local.
That's crazy, man. And Eric Red is from Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh, shoot.
Now that we're in PA, I feel like I needed to mention that.
It's almost like this pocket of the country's been producing literary heroes for some time.
A little bit, yeah.
It's amazing. Well, yeah, and Pittsburgh's, producing prolific directors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Question mark. Anyway, so yeah, this was a novel by Wayne Smith. Now, here's the thing that I didn't know. This was a big one for me, and maybe you guys read about this, but the novel doesn't even come out yet before it's pushed across Eric Red's desk, okay? And before it was published by the William Morris Agency, he had it, and it was I don't know why they chose him to go over. I guess because it's it's kind of like a pulpy werewolf thing, and like it's got that taboo of like, well, no big director's gonna take this. Like, you did The Hitcher and Near Dark, you did vampire shit. So what do you think? But he goes on to say that he reads this book and he's like, that's one of the most original werewolf movies I've ever read. And so he takes it and he writes his script, and he takes it to his producers, and he actually, the way that he comes about this movie is he's going to talk about another project, and I guess it doesn't pan out or what have you, but the producers on that project are like, hey, what about that werewolf dog movie you wrote the script for? What about that? And he's like, oh, well, here it is. And he's like, well, yeah, this looks great. Okay. 2 weeks later, we're in production for fucking Bad Moon. So it's bonkers how this shit works.
I had a hard time actually finding any info on Wayne Smith, just because that's such a common name.
Oh, yeah.
His bio in the dust jacket mentions that he is a former disc jockey, a bike messenger, a bookstore clerk, and a cab driver, and now lives in San Francisco.
That sounds like a writer to me.
Yeah, sounds like a Jersey guy to me, too.
Very much. The only other book I could find that is guaranteed to be from him was a vampire novel called Nightlife, I believe.
Oh, really? Was that ever adapted into anything?
I couldn't find that kind of info, but I did find that Thor won the 1996 Garden State Teen Book Award.
Teen book?
Technically, this book is a YA novel.
Are you serious?
Whoa.
And we will go into weird details as to why I don't.
Oh my God, that just dawned on me, dude. You know, I leafed through this and I was like, man, the text is big.
I mean, well, hardcover books tend to have like bigger text sometimes.
Sure.
It won alongside Lois Lowry's The Giver, which in my bookstore.
Whoa.
Yeah, they won both together. And only one of those is an assigned reading for kids in the summer. I have to sell every summer, every year at the bookstore. Unfortunately, it's not Thor.
You should propose that. You should be like, oh, you okay, so The Giver's great or whatever, but read this book. You like werewolves, kid?
Here's some brain candy.
You would have been my savior, dude, at the Scholastic Book Fair, man.
Do you like werewolves and oddly horny dialogue?
Yes.
Hey, you by the Animorphs table, get over here.
Anything to make me look up from the book and make sure nobody's around.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it.
What I thought was crazy, too, about this is, now I love this movie, and maybe I'm biased, but I think it's a really excellent werewolf movie. One of the best. Top 5. Easy. Maybe not number 1, but definitely like number 2 or 3. Okay?
Me and Arlen from the Phantom Zone podcast had this conversation the other day.
Yeah, you better say that, damn it.
He's got your fucking number now.
We're talking about this the other day, and I was like, to me, it is my favorite werewolf movie, and for him, he's like, and like so if I had to pick 3 or 4, it's this. It's American Werewolf in London.
Not Paris. Jesus Christ, not Paris.
Yeah, no, not Paris. It's Dog Soldiers and it's Late Phases.
Okay.
I don't know among us who's seen Late Phases, but Late Phases is the only werewolf movie to like really like make me fucking hurt emotionally.
Yeah, Late Phases is excellent.
Late Phases is about a war vet who goes home who's blind and who has a seeing eye dog and lives in a retirement community, and a werewolf is attacking the community. And as hokey as that fucking sounds, this movie takes it as seriously as a fucking heart attack.
And that's why it rules.
And by the end of it, like, and it rules because of that. By the end of it, it's such a fucking gut punch because like it attacks his dog, it attacks his neighbors, like, and he's blind and he like fights this thing in his fucking like his like Valor uniform at some point. Like, it's so fucking good.
Oh man, dude, don't spoil it. But that end fucking scene is incredible, and I think Berman did the effects on that. Rob Berman, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the main actor is the guy from Stakeland, which is a very good vampire movie. That's kind of like it's a post-apocalyptic vampire movie where it's kind of like a zombie movie, but it's vampires have taken over the entire country, and this young guy, this kid is following around this kind of survivor veteran who's basically trying to teach him like this world you're about to, kind of come up in is brutal and unforgiving, and like the way you think you can survive will get you killed.
So it's The Road with vampires.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh wow, that's a good comparison.
Late Phases is good too because it's one of those werewolf movies where there's actually like multiple werewolves. Like,
Didn't we watch that together?
yeah, we watched it at your parents' house a few years ago. But, they work sometimes with multiple werewolves. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you need just the one. Sometimes you don't. I mean, if you've seen a bunch of these films in this genre, it kind of just really depends.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Late Phases, it was cool seeing the multiple werewolves without really giving away what the plot is.
Yeah, and then I mentioned Dog Soldiers because that's the other one where it's you have multiple werewolves, and like that movie just never fucking lets up.
Oh man, Neil Marshall needs to make a fucking sequel to that ASAP. How did we get Descent 2 and not Dog Soldiers 2? I don't know.
Descent 2 fucking blows if you ask me.
Yeah, well don't say that. Don't say that out loud because Julie might hear this and she hasn't seen it yet.
Oh no!
She loves The Descent. That's like one of her favorite movies.
Late Phases sounds like Bubba Hotep, but more serious and make me cry more.
Yes. Yeah, no, big time.
Yeah, and like Bubba Hotep has its moments where it's like, oh, but like Late Phases has not a moment where it's putting his tongue in his cheek. Like, it's taking this ridiculous premise as seriously as it possibly can. Like, and it's just, and the actor whose name I can't remember his name, but like he's astounding, and like he commits to the whole blindness thing. Like, he's not Like he's not one. He's very old too. He's playing an older man. Like this is not a like knockdown drag out fight. Like this is a really brutal fight for survival by the end of it.
I gotta check this out.
Tom Noonan is the priest, isn't he?
Yeah. On the opposite end of the spectrum there, though, like one of my favorites, this actually ranks pretty high. This was really good. Like, this movie actually scared me a couple times, like, especially, like, towards the end when shit really starts hitting the fan. But one that's real kind of hokey, I guess you could argue, compared to, like, late phases especially, and even this film, that I like a lot is Silver Bullet.
Oh, I love Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet's good.
Corey Haim's great with, as the main character in the wheelchair. And, of course, you have crazy Uncle Gary Busey in there. And I always forget the name of the actor, but fucking Ed from Twin Peaks, who plays the you find out is the werewolf. And this, again, another movie that has a great end sequence where the werewolf's in the house going after him and they have to take it out.
That gets a lot of shit for, like, the werewolf design, and I just don't agree.
I think it looks good.
I just don't agree, man. I think he looks great. Oh, that actor is Everett McGill, by the way, and he's fucking amazing in that flick.
Maybe this is like I'm sure we'll cover more werewolf movies. This isn't our first one. I think we were talking about that previously, and I think we just all forgot, or pushed, rather, American Werewolf in Paris out of our brains. We didn't want to think about that too much.
Fuck that movie, and we should totally do Silver Bullet because we can do Cycle of the Werewolf with Smith.
Oh.
That is a good book.
Sure is.
See, I didn't think of American Werewolf in Paris. I thought of how this is yet another version of Thor versus Fenrir, which we already watched in the Runestone.
Oh, wow. Wow, okay.
Well, and you know what's funny about that? That's a good point, Connor, because I would even argue this is technically like our third werewolf movie if you count
Runestone.
That's what I was talking about, because that's Sigvalson, versus it's a Nordic warrior who's fighting a giant wolf monster. It's Thor and Fenrir. Yeah.
A wolf creature, right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's right in the pocket there.
Yeah, which is why I love, like, it's, we do Frankenstein movies and we do various pop culture interpretations of a Nordic fairy tale. I think it's fucking awesome.
And we do John Carpenter's vampires, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do all the incarnations of things that are inspired by thereof. So there you go.
Yeah, but I guess where I was going with that.
What's your top 5 werewolf movies, and then Smith, what's your top 5, and then I'll tell mine.
Okay. I guess, like, if I this is not in any particular order, but I would probably put this in the top 5. The original Wolfman. Does Wolfman count? Would that count as a werewolf movie? I know that's a little different.
Of course.
He's a fucking werewolf. He's the OG. What are you talking about?
Okay.
He is a wolf man.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Sean's point is, like, you can watch the movie and go, like, this is a fucking weird ass allegory for alcoholism.
Well, right, a little bit.
Well, that's also true. And it was like, oh, I'm Lon Chaney Jr., and I had the same problem my dad had anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, I'll answer the question, but I was just thinking about that when you were just talking about the way the werewolf looks in Silver Bullet, Joe.
Sure.
Like, werewolves historically in art for, I want to say centuries, don't quote me on that, maybe it's not centuries, but, they're drawn in many different ways. You have, like, the skinnier type, which you kind of got in Silver Bullet, and even in the Wolfman remake, was kind of like that skinnier stomach, and then it's on the hind legs, much like American Werewolf. Well, actually, I was going to say American Werewolf in London, but that one actually is on all fours. The one in...
yeah, it's a quadruped, but both done by Rick Baker, so there you go.
Yes, or like the one like in Harry Potter 3 that Lupin turns into is more of the skinnier style, and then you have the big hulking motherfuckers like in London and like the Howling.
Yeah.
So I always like that. I like that everyone has their own spin on it, and yeah, I gotta say, this one is pretty creepy, so I would say, yeah, this is in my top 5, Silver Bullet, American Werewolf in London. I feel like if you just started naming shit, I would be like, oh yeah, but like, I could say The Howling.
It's okay, I just thought that would be fun to do.
Yeah, like, I would say The Howling, but I haven't seen it in a long-ass time. And was that, the Howling's the one with Jack Nicholson, right?
No, that's Wolf.
That's Wolf.
Okay, so... that would be the other one I would put on the list, because I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember liking it a lot.
It's funny because it's Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, it's a minimalist werewolf movie. Like it's not. It's just barely a werewolf.
I have just that scene burned into my head. I think he's eating like a hoof or something in the woods, but he's like a human form.
Or a deer or something. I can't remember. We should revisit that for sure.
Yeah, it's creepy. But I guess that's my answer, off the top of my head.
What about you, Smith?
See, the funny thing is that like in preferences for monsters, I choose werewolves over vampires all the time, but I just have a hard time finding really good werewolf movies. I didn't know about Bad Moon, but that's going to be up there now.
That's what this show is about, baby. And everybody who likes werewolves that never heard of fucking Bad Moon is going to go watch Bad Moon right after they hear this episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what? It's funny. Hunter Davenport, also from the Venom Zone podcast, he doesn't do horror films, and he loves this fucking movie. The other thing I wanted to throw in is that there's two more contemporary ones that I will defend to the death. One is what Sean mentioned, The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro. I think that movie is fucking great, despite like some obvious flaws and like a kind of a weird ending.
Spoilers, never saw it yet. How? I don't know. I'm the werewolf man.
Yeah, also Benicio del Toro is giving the most tormented performance I've ever seen him give, and he's just phenomenal throughout the entire thing.
The idea of him being Larry Talbot, like, makes me so happy, and I just never watched it. I don't know why. I just never got to it.
He's giving 150% every time, and then like by the end of it, like when he goes in his killing spree, you're like, this is so. And Emily Blunt's in it, and Anthony Hopkins is fucking in it. The other one is this might take everybody for a whirl. Underworld 3: Rise of the Lycans. I don't care for the first two movies. However, I am a big fan of fucking werewolves, and I love that fucking movie. Michael Sheen is amazing. I can't remember her name, but like it's Mina Suv. Fuck. She's not Kate Beckinsale. It's somebody else, but like she's good. And goddamn, he plays Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know his name, but just lost it.
I thought he was the main vampire guy in the first movie.
He is, but it's a prequel, and it is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It details the conflict between the werewolves and the vampires, and because it's set in a thunderbolt, cloudy, rainy, dark blue Transylvanian like fantasy setting, I fucking gobble that shit up. It's so fucking fun.
I forget what that Christmas movie is, but he's the fucking singer in that movie. If you feel like werewolves, baby, let me know, let it show.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
With fucking Alan Rickman. Anyway, sorry.
What did I pick? Bad Moon? I picked Bad Moon, Howling, American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, but Dog Soldiers. All right, guys, listen.
It's so good.
Dog Soldiers is the fucking tits.
Let me explain. The famous Tony from Hack the Movies mentioned it in one of his reviews.
And important, you got to remember that detail. He's very important also.
He's very important, yeah.
He name dropped it for a possible episode. I immediately messaged him and I was like, listen, I need to be on this episode. I loved this movie before I enlisted. And then after I enlisted, I'm like, I love this more. It is my favorite werewolf movie. It is one of my favorite war movies in general. It is one of my favorite movies in general. That beginning scene of the soldiers bickering with each other in the middle of an exercise. I have never seen a more accurate depiction of the back and forth jokey jokes going on between your average Joe soldiers, because there's so many war movies with your airborne ranger, special forces, and this is the only movie that has just my kind of guys, the people I hang out with.
So do you want to hear a fun fact about that movie that I'm sure you may not know?
Love fun facts about this movie.
Remember the scene where Sean Pertwee is tied to a bed and they just punch him to knock him out because he's being irrational?
He actually punched him, yeah, right?
They jaw-jacked the fuck out of Sean Pertwee in that fucking scene.
Oh, I didn't know that. He fucking really hit him? Holy shit.
And they knocked him the fuck out.
you know what's funny, though? You bring that up specifically in the context of Hack the Movies,
Mm-hmm.
If Tony doesn't get around to it, because, again, he's very busy, he's very important, next year, maybe we make an exception, Smith. Maybe you don't have to read a book. Maybe you can just come on and talk about fucking Dog Soldiers, because I think we've been talking about it a couple of years ourselves, so it's like whoever pulls the trigger first gets Smith on the show.
Also, it would be fucking criminal for Hack the Movies to do that movie and not have you on, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I looked so hard to see if there's any kind of literature, a publication of a script, anything to give me an excuse to talk it on my channel, and I could not find it.
Oh, we'll find one. Don't worry.
I love Dog Soldiers.
It's all right. You just come on and you talk about it with us. Fuck that.
We'll find an excuse. Our excuse is we watched Dog Soldiers and we dragged you along.
We'll cover it for sure.
Joe, what are your top 5?
Oh, thank you, Sean. Allow me while I will elaborate. The Company of Wolves. The Neil Jordan film Company of Wolves. Have any of you guys seen that movie?
I've never heard of that.
No, never heard of it.
So I love that movie because it's mostly like a fairy tale kind of thing, and the way that it explores werewolves and the lore is very fairy tale driven, and it's like this weird fucking fever dream of a movie where it's basically this young teen girl. Put it this way, it's kind of like Labyrinth meets Little Red Riding Hood.
I can get behind that.
David Warner's in it. Angela Lansbury's in it. When I met David Warner, I had him sign my Company of Wolves poster, and he called Angela Lansbury the Big C.
Wow, I'm just imagining like Ra's al Ghul from fucking Batman the series. Like, that woman is a cunt.
Well, he was such a cool guy, so I imagine she was a jerk. So that's definitely on there. Company of Wolves, straight up. Bad Moon, obviously. Man, now this is where it gets difficult, right? Because you want to say Howling, which I'm going to say. So The Howling, and you want to say American Werewolf in London because of the effects, right? And even the movie, but you know, when I look at like a Company of Wolves versus American Werewolf in London, they are just two completely different fucking movies, right? Like, one's like a horror comedy and one's like a fantasy art film with werewolves, kind of.
I feel like American Werewolf in London is a werewolf movie, undoubtedly, but like, if I'm in the mood for a werewolf movie, I don't go to it because I want pure horror, I guess. Like, I want either horror or like, you know, the action. Like, I don't go to American Werewolf in London because it's horror comedy. And like, when I want to go to the werewolf well, I'm like, no, I want like just fucking, I want tradition. Like, I want fucking, you know.
Sure.
I want the horror.
I mean, it's a prolific film. It can't not be on there. But I think number 5. I think number 5 for me is Project Metal Beast,
which I've not seen yet, and I keep seeing the cover for it, and I'm like, man,
I think I posted that for VH September.
Doesn't that have the Metal Gear Solid font?
I don't think so, but it's basically about this guy who goes to Romania, and it's like a government-funded project where he like kills a werewolf, gets werewolf blood, and they basically want to build a super soldier. And they kill this guy, but he can't die, but he has bullets in him that turns him back into a guy. So they freeze his corpse. They unfreeze him in the 90s. And these researchers and these scientists that have come up with some type of armored skin grafts for another super soldier program that they're working on, take this cadaver and put these and graph all of these fucking like bulletproof skin sections too, and they have no idea that he was a fucking werewolf. And Barry Bostwick's like, yeah, it's fine, you can put that shit on that corpse. And then one of the doctors like takes out the silver bullets, and then he comes back to life and fucking turns into a werewolf.
Oh my god, what?
Dude,
that sounds fucking awesome.
It's amazing. And Kane Hodder is in the fucking suit. It's great.
One more honorable mention, Ginger Snaps.
Oh yeah.
Now, I rewatched that this year with my wife, and she had never seen it, so I was like, oh, let's watch this. Definitely need to check it out. It's a great coming-of-age werewolf movie, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Isabella is an underrated horror gem, and she's kind of the main player in the Ginger Snap series. She's in Freddy vs. Jason. She is
yeah, she's great in Freddy vs. Jason too as well.
She's the one who has the dynamite line of "What the fuck do you think?"
I had a big crush on her.
Yeah, well, you know who else is the sister is Bev from the It miniseries. Young Bev.
That's her?
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's her. That's what I said. I was like, who is that? And we looked it up. I was like, holy shit, that's Beverly Marsh from the It 90s series.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, who plays him in the kid version, you know, with what's his name? Jonathan Brandis.
Not the one who's like, why is he so mean?
Yeah, Jonathan Brandis and what's his
name? And Seth Green.
Seth Green, yeah, Seth Green.
And what's his face? Sliders.
I don't know.
Jerry O'Connell. There we go.
So real quick, just a couple other things before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, or the bulleted version of this.
The silver bulleted version of this?
The silver bulleted version. So Morgan Creek puts this...
Well, Sean, those don't work.
Oh, no. So this movie gets put out by Morgan Creek, and they fucking release it the day after Halloween, and there's no fucking money. That's the weird thing about this movie. Like, they put up the money, and there was like a regular shooting schedule, more than enough time to shoot, more than enough budget. That wasn't the problem. The problem was no money was spent on the marketing of this film. Now, I remember seeing the trailer, but there was no trade ads or anything like that for this film, and it kind of just released on a wet fart, 900 theaters or some shit like that.
So on behalf of the trailer, I went to, because I told Ashley about it. I was like, you guys gotta fucking watch this movie. I went to go find a trailer. Every trailer is the worst trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was an afterthought. Yeah,
it's fucking bad. It's so bad. It's like a family, an uncle, flashes of light, maybe a werewolf, bad moon.
Question mark. Dogs, but not really.
Or whatevers.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's there by the cigar chomping executive. Whatever, there's dogs, there's a family, and the Michael Paré's in the fucking trailer.
Oh, it's funny you say that because Dino De Laurentiis was originally on board to fucking produce this film. No lie. Give me the werewolf. What do you say?
First we got Orca, then we got the werewolf.
Michael Paré, you werewolf now.
So critics hated this fucking movie. They thought the effects sucked, which I think I want to just go shoot them all in the face. I was like, what are you talking about?
I will say, when that transformation scene happens, I was pretty fucking disappointed.
Ooh,
well,
that was rough. That was a rough one.
That is the movie's only real sin. However, I'm gonna say this in its defense, like, it is a combination of practical effects and a very bad morph tool.
Correct. No, it is.
Yes, because the fucking werewolf looks so good, and you have this shitty ass transformation, like warp fucking effect.
So on that Scream Factory DVD or Blu-ray, which by the way, you should totally pick up that Scream Factory Blu-ray because it's amazing. The transfer is gorgeous. But there's a director's cut, and the director's cut is just that scene taken out because Eric Red was like, that looks like shit. But to its defense, like Steve Johnson and his team, oh, by the way, Steve fucking Johnson on this werewolf, guys, like
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, the whole thing was like they nailed everything else, and then when it came to this transformation, they just shit the bed, and they were just like, they fucked it up, and he owned that. But then he was like, okay, I got a director's cut. All right, I'm just gonna clip that part out. There we go, fine.
And the disappointing thing is, you could look at that sequence and go like, you put effort into like practical effects, and you made these molds, and you made these other fucking pieces of this.
You had the shoe blow up, which looked awesome.
Well, no, that's still in the movie, by the way, the director's cut.
Yeah, you had all this shit happening, and then you had that fucking CGI. I'm like, you just glued it together with bad visual effects. Like, you had all this stuff, and you stitched together so poorly.
So what Steve Johnson said was that, the technology was there, but nobody was really exactly sure how to use it.
Sure.
So it was one of those things where I was like, well, how do we do this? Here's 8 different makeups, and we're going to shoot these 8 different makeups, and then I don't know what. You're going to put it together in post. The big problem is it's all in like fucking 2D, right? There's nothing actually like protrudes or anything like that. Like when you look at American Werewolf, like all that shit still holds up, and it's still, I mean, granted, that effect where the muzzle pushes out that Rick Baker fucking pioneered was, it took almost nearly a year just to make that part when you think about it. But
and now it looks like someone doing a snake impression, but it's fine.
Well, this is also true. But Steve Johnson worked under Rob Bottin for The Howling, and then Rob Bottin was working under Rick Baker for American Werewolf in London, and then that was the point where Bottin split off, did The Howling, and had his team, which consisted of Steve Johnson, to do the werewolf effects on that. But Steve Johnson then also worked on American Werewolf in London. All right, so you have this. I mean, Steve Johnson, again, he's one of my favorite effects guys too. He's in my top 5 for sure. Not as heralded as or heralded, however you say that, as Beekler. But Steve Johnson's in like my top 5. Again, because he's that guy that nobody really talks about, but has done so much fucking shit, your fucking head would spin.
That's got to be a lot of pressure too, though. Like, because I always think like with horror movies in general, people are always looking for like good effects.
Yeah.
I mean, in any movie, but especially in horror. But you just think like any kind of creature feature, especially like a werewolf movie, like that's the kind of thing people are expecting to look a certain way. Like the level of the effect, like what is the werewolf going to look like? What is the alien going to look like?
Yeah, but it was very specific for this film. Eric Red wanted to make the best werewolf, the ultimate werewolf put to film. And Steve Johnson, I was watching an interview with him, and like he said it perfectly. Like anybody that does special effects, like in the back of their head, they're like, I want to make a werewolf. I really want to make a werewolf. And I remember in another interview I saw him in, he was talking about Rob Bottin and working on The Howling, and how Rob Bottin would make like the coolest werewolf ever and it like not be good enough. Like I just remember that, and like they would be drinking beers in his fucking garage, and he would just like rip this fucking sculpture apart, and Steve Johnson would be like, "What are you doing? Like, are you insane?" But yeah, then the rest is history on The Howling, obviously. But Steve Johnson, I think, has made the ultimate werewolf in this flick.
This thing is so fucking scary. Like this thing is wide-eyed and terrifying.
Yeah, I want to give credit to Bill Corso, because he designed and sculpted the face of this werewolf. It's Steve Johnson's company, but Bill Corso was Steve Johnson's like head art director. So he was a big part of how this werewolf looked, and they fucking nailed it. It's the best. It's the best.
It looks like a fucking dog, and that's the thing about it, is it looks so animalistic, and it emotes like okay, so werewolves in movies, like when they have to show you that it's still a man in there somehow. Like there's still human features. This thing is like a fucking Sasquatch, okay? Like, it's this fucking gigantic hulking mass, and then the face, I'm like, that is pure animal. There's no human left in that thing.
So, Dig, Steve Johnson bases it off this comic. I can't remember the name of the comic. It might have been like an EC Comics or like a Bernie Wrightson thing, but he saw this picture of this werewolf who had like the top half of a wolf and the bottom half of a man, so that's what he based it on. And the way that he constructed the animatronic face was that he was able to elongate the neck, right? So the animatronic head is kind of off the face of the actor, or the suit actor, and then they were able to sculpt and kind of blend down the neck so it was like a longer neck. So it looked more like a wolf man. TM.
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Yeah. Guess who's in this suit, guys?
Kevin Peter Hall.
Ken Kersinger.
Oh my God, really?
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
The man who brought Jason to life for Freddy vs. Jason, yeah.
I honestly, like, there's a short list of like good Jason actors, and there's not many because Kane did it so many times, but like Ken Kersinger's an awesome Jason because he's like, no, I'm going to bring this like heavy-footed Frankenstein element to Jason, and all of his movements are just these big brutish swings. And he's like an ape in this fucking thing.
This was his hardest job that he worked on.
Oh my God, he fucking earned it.
Because of the conditions of the suit and stuff. And just real quick, they had a real German Shepard, right? A Russian border patrol attack German Shepard in that final scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this suit, dude, and this fucking thing jumped at him and it knocked him off his ass like 10 feet, like across the room. When he falls into the computer table in Brett's room.
Oh my God.
Wrecked his shit, dude, like straight up.
Well, I was going to say, while talking about the werewolf design, it's actually a huge far cry from what was described in the book.
Oh my God, please lay it on us, yeah.
Oh, I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Oh, that's right. You have a book guy on here.
Sorry, dude, there's a lot to talk about for this movie. It's so good.
We're very wrapped up in our enthusiasm. We're sorry.
We're all gushing about it. So the book Werewolf is described as like more human-like, like Lon Chaney Jr.'s Wolfman, where like the face is very humanoid. There's not a long snout, but he's like big and brutish. And one of you guys mentioned Sasquatch, and in the book, a couple people describe because the werewolf has like a scene where like neighbors see him and then runs off in the woods, and they described it as like thinking that they saw Sasquatch. So it has a very like, I'm thinking like War of the Gargantuans type look in my head.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
But in my head, that's what they look like. So then I'm watching, and I really do prefer this design. But we were talking about it in chat, and I spliced together some footage. The head being hunched down on the shoulders, I think it's fine because he does look very animalistic, very ape-like you said, but I couldn't get the image of Booster from Jingle All the Way out of my head.
Where the hell you been?
You know, you just did, right? You just created another fucking MDU chapter in the MDU universe.
I am honored.
You know, honestly, and how easy that is, you just color this fucking wolf pink, and there you go. That's all you gotta do.
Stay tuned.
Booster didn't have a Snickers.
God, imagine Booster just slicing this poor woman to death in this opening scene, like.
That opening scene's great.
Oh my God, I want to talk about it so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, I'll bring it to in a second, but I have to address it because I didn't know that he was in this movie, and he's become like, okay, so you know how Idris Elba is just like, you put him in a movie, you're like, God, he's the fucking coolest dude ever, and it's effortless. Michael Paré is Ted in this movie. He's the monster. He is Tom Cody from Streets of Fire, a.k.a. that movie, the movie and actor responsible for Final Fight and the character of Cody, the Capcom games. Streets of Fire is the fucking raddest movie ever, and Michael Paré in both movies, in this and Streets of Fire, is just like, you're looking to go, God, he's just fucking, like, everything he does is the coolest thing ever. Like,
Michael Paré loved doing this movie, by the way. He loved it.
did he really? That's awesome, because it looks like he's kind of having fun. And, like, even when he's, like, having to really emote, like, aggressively, I'm like, man, he's doing really good for this fucking, you know, this. It is a very small, like, werewolf movie, because it takes place, like, mostly in a backyard.
Yeah.
But, like, he's not shortchanging it. Like, he's giving a very good effort.
Right. Okay, so with that being said, we got Mariel Hemingway as Janet, and she was in the Tales from the Crypt episode that I was talking about.
Which one?
Loved to Death.
Oh, okay.
With Andrew McCarthy from fucking Weekend at Bernie's, dude.
Oh.
God, Weekend at Bernie's is like a fucking MDU nexus.
It's the one where he like is in love with this chick in this apartment complex, and this weird like shady guy in this back room who like owns this super basically, who like has cameras all over the place, like grants him this wish or whatever, or like this gives him this potion or some shit, and he gives it to Mariel Hemingway, and she like falls in love with him. So much so that he, like, ends up killing her, and then she comes back from the grave, and then you know how it goes, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, I don't know his real name, but Dennis the Menace playing the son.
Mason Gamble is his name.
He's looking for some baked beans. Well, he's looking for a key and a can of baked beans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
He's replacing Mr. Wilson's teeth with chiclets. You know, he's getting paint inside his fucking steak. He's a rascal.
Oh, he is a little rascal. His name's Brett in this film. I think this is the film right after Dennis the Menace, too.
This character's a fucking badass, too, at some point in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He is the smartest person being the key word, in this movie.
So and the star of the movie, it's not Michael Paré. If this actor was not present, it would be Michael Paré. But it's this fucking dog who plays Thor.
Primo is his real name.
Holy shit. I have never, other people I've talked about this movie have agreed with me, like, I have never seen a more convincing animal performer in my fucking life. To a point where, like, I was like, I think there's some real peril that this animal might be going through, or maybe some real stress, because, like, the fucking scene with the rabies pole is distressing.
Yeah, I teared up at that.
That's the movie magic, Connor. They have the treat off camera. They got the trainer there. You just don't see it.
Well, here's the thing. Those two guys that take the dog away are the trainers.
He was probably happy. They probably had a fucking ADR in the dog whine. It was probably happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah.
Well, no. Here's the thing. It's not even that. It's the fact that, like, I know animal body language.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Watching that sequence, like, that dog, like, whatever they did to, like, I'm sure because it was a trainers, like, they knew how much stress they could put on this animal to make it do what they wanted to. But, like,
I wonder if it's like a smell thing or something. Like, maybe they have, like, a weird scent.
the pole that, and, like, also the scene where he attacks Ted in the backyard, and, like, the mom carrying him inside and just throwing him in a fucking laundry room. I was like, oh my God, I relate to all this, like this kind of like this erratic behavior from an animal you care about.
It is a movie though, so it's not like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
to that point. There's 3 dogs. There's Primo, who does all the close-ups and stuff and all the more like rambunctious type stuff.
Beautiful dog, by the way. Like the coat on this dog is incredible.
Oh, it's gorgeous. There was a female dog, Harriet, I think her name is, but she was for the over-the-shoulder stuff and anytime the dog laid down and things like that. And then there was that one Russian border fucking attack dog that I told you about. That was for that last scene, that last battle between him and Ted Wolf. But
With Primo, like the close-ups too, like the close-ups, like when he's looking at Ted in the woods, like in the beginning and the ending, or like when he's just kind of staring out, and like there's a moment at the end after they fall through the window, which I think is just like a dynamite fucking looking stunt, where like Ted stands up to escape, and it looks like Thor is done, and he sits up like, this motherfucker. Like,
it's so just real quick, I want to just tell you the secret behind all of his like isms.
Yeah, please.
So Primo was like a puppy. Like it was a full-grown dog, but it was still like a puppy. So it was like very scatterbrained all over the place. It was very hard to get all of the facial, the facial shots and stuff, and like Eric Red had like 3 fucking canisters of fucking film, like or 3 magazines of film, like ready to go just to shoot this dog for like as long as they could just to get what they needed.
Damn.
But Michael Paré, when the dog is looking at him, especially when he comes out of his trailer later, the Airstream that he's in, he's making noises like weird noises, and the dog is looking at him almost like he's thinking. Or like he also said that like they would just have lunch, so he would like blow towards the dog, so the dog would like sniff the air and be like, oh, what's that, you know what I mean?
Wow, that's honestly a credit to Paré for like just having that kind of natural chemistry with an animal to make it as easy as they possibly can.
But the way that it reads on film, it's like the dog is thinking or like judging him.
The dog is fucking sizing him up.
Yeah.
I've your Homeward Bound, whatever, like all these fucking movies with like animals as protagonists, but like this is the first movie I've ever seen where an animal as a protagonist is believable, because you're looking at him, you're like, there's like pathos and there's thought and there's problem solving that's 110% believable by an animal, because it's not dealing with a human problem. It is confronting what he perceives as one of its own and saying like, you don't fucking belong here.
Oh no, not at all.
And that's one of the things I love about this fucking movie, is that it's not a battle between humans and werewolf. It's a battle between an animal who is an animal and a man who turns into an animal who is basically encroaching this animal's territory and attacking its loved ones, and the animal responding in kind, like, no, get the fuck out of here.
It's between a good boy and a not so good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, CB, break this down for us a little bit, brother.
All right.
Okay, yeah, because I just right off the bat, I mean, say what you're going to say, but I'm even curious to see how the book opens compared to the movie, because I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to that, because there's some shit that we got to say, but hit it, baby.
What do you want first, the opening or the Thor parts?
Well, okay, so how does it work in the book? Is it all from Thor's perspective? Does it mix it up?
It feels kind of gimmicky at times, but Smith, he successfully does the majority of the book from Thor's perspective. And I texted you guys all throughout being like, I love this dog so much. He is the goodest of good boys. Like, the first 20 pages is just a dopamine dump of just like, if you like dogs, Thor, like, you instantly love him. He, like, in the movie, he, in the beginning, looks over at Brett, who in the book, there is Brett, there's little Teddy, and then there's a daughter named Debbie. So they just morphed them all together and made Brett.
Okay, so there's 3 kids.
3 kids, a mom and dad.
And a dad.
Yeah, and I talked about dad character, and you were like, he's not in there. I'm like, wow, okay.
No, so the movie is just a mom and her son.
Yes. There's also a kitten in there, too.
What? Little kitty? What's the kitty's name?
Just called Kitty.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Because Debbie, the 3-year-old girl, named him. So, and so Thor, goodest of good boys, plays with the kitty, like, loves the kitty, like, completely. Like, if it's part of the pack, that's a thing. Like, Thor sees the whole family as a pack. Mom and dad are the mating pair. All the kids are below him. He feels very like there's a rank system.
Okay, yeah.
Smith, he goes by that debunked study with wolf packs about like the hierarchy of the alphas and stuff. There was an old study that the original author debunked later when he found like he studied wolves in the wild instead of activity, and found that like no, wolf packs are just families. Like there's no like alpha hierarchy.
There's no Dark Souls boss wolf from The Grey that Liam Neeson has to fight with broken glass.
Exactly.
Maybe it's Ted Wolf.
Thor, he listens to everyone. All he wants to do is protect the family. The worst thing you can do to Thor is call him a bad dog. It just hurts his feelings so hard. You can leave the windows open when you go grocery shopping. He won't go anywhere. He'll even carry groceries with him.
What a nice boy.
He's the nicest of boys. As I mentioned before, he does like a security rounds every night, make sure everyone's in their beds, and then he sits down in a spot. He's in a spot in the stairs.
They do that in the movie in a great way.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does, and it's really nice.
I had a Malamute Husky mix growing up, and his name was Dusty, and he did the same shit. He would go from bed to bed and make sure everyone was cool. And I think I'm tearing up. I miss my dog. He slept with all of us when we were kids, so he was as we were infants, he was by our cribs all the time.
That's so sweet.
Well, I love how in the movie too, I'm really happy that's in the book because they kind of established that with Thor very early into the movie where he's bringing like the blanket over to Dennis the Menace and he's checking on Mom.
Or yeah, he like jumps up on him and like sleeps with him and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the best scenes to really exemplify like how good of a boy this guy is like every morning he jogs with Mom in the woods. That's like her routine. It's their routine. He runs off into the woods and scurries off and has fun in the woods. And he finds animals to chase, and he chases a rabbit. And in the scene, he chases the rabbit, and the rabbit gets trapped in like a not a ravine, but he's trapped and doesn't know where to go, doesn't know what to do. The rabbit is scared out of his wits. And Thor sits there in front of the rabbit, and he's like, I know I need to do something. I just don't know what. He's domesticated, so he doesn't know what about killing.
Right.
He wouldn't know do the trapped animal.
Yeah, he just traps the animal because he's chasing. It's a chasing game. The rabbit doesn't know that though, so he barks at the rabbit.
Wait, I'm saying the rabbit's like watership downing, like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, Thor just barks at him, trying to say, "quote I win," because it's a game. This is what I mean. It's like, oh my god, Thor, I love you so much.
Yeah.
But then like the dopamine finally wore off, and I was like, all right, Smith, you're getting a little. Wayne, I know you love the dog, but you kind of made him you made him psychic a little bit, and that was weird.
He's like Godzilla.
Oh my god. Are you fucking telling me this has got orca powers? Is that what you're saying?
He has like a premonition where like he can sense when like dad's coming home from work, even if he's late. He predicts it on the minute before anyone can hear the truck coming in or anything like that.
I don't know what it is about dogs. You know, maybe it is like a weird psychic thing and like comes off more psychic in the book, but like I've definitely seen animals behave in matters where it's like, how the fuck, like, how did you know?
Or are they just that keen with their hearing?
Like, they could have just did it with keen hearing, but instead, like, it's described in the book as, like, you could just sense it. And then dad, this is a very dad book, so I'm very surprised dad's not in the picture.
Fuck him.
Dad is the alpha male. Dad does the best belly rubs. It is dad whose last word in the book. Thor will only listen to dad.
To be fair, I don't think the movie would work with dad.
Yeah, all the things with dad is given to Janet.
Okay.
Dad was the lawyer. Dad had the most say about things. It was all just given to Mom. And I think it's like Mom didn't have much to do in the book outside of being Ted's sister. So
I think this works better as a single mom because just that extra layer of family is not there. And because that extra like the presence would be Ted. Like she's like, oh no, it's like let's bring the family together. And like he's an active threat to everybody.
Well, yeah, but he's also an active father figure to Brett too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smith, I know you're kind of giving us the breakdown of Thor right now, but can we just pivot for 1 second because you mentioned Janet?
Yeah.
The mother is a lawyer, because we have this great scene early in the movie where there's like this fucking con man.
With Lopsy.
Is that his name? Is that what he's referred to in the book?
Flopsy. He's officially Flopsy, dude, on IMDb.
Oh my god.
His real name is Rothgar something. I looked it up.
I just assumed she was just saying that as like a derogatory term. I didn't think they were literally going to name the guy that.
Well, that's all they refer to him as.
Sure, yeah.
So it is a derogatory term.
Except for the sheriff. He calls him by his real name, but I didn't write it down.
Like Mitchell or something.
But I love how he's trying to like rip them off, and immediately Thor figures it out, Janet figures it out, and she gets in his face and is like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you could do that. You can come back with a lawyer, but I am a lawyer." And she gives them like all the legal speak, like, "I'll call a cop now. I'll get the sheriff down here. We can sort this all out." And then he like fucking runs away with his tail between his legs. He's like, I'll get you later, lady."
This asshole's on the ground, and he's like, "Oh, your dog bit me." And he's like, "I'm gonna get my lawyer." And she's like, "Oh yeah, here's mine." And she fucking takes her card and basically just fucking throws it on him, and is like, "There you go, you fucking scumbag."
So we had a guy try to do this with one of my dogs too. He showed up because my dog ran away at some point, and he showed up and he was like, "Your dog bit me in the crotch," and blah blah blah. And my mom was like, "I think you'd be in a fair bit more pain if she did."
Yeah. Let me see. You're not bleeding at all.
Yeah, and also Shadow was Dusty's kid. So Shadow was Malamute Husky and German Shepherd.
Wow, you're so lucky that you got that. No, really, I'm serious.
Yeah. Oh, Shadow was the fucking best. I miss that dog every day.
You got to have the older dog and then its kin. That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, completely by accident because he ran away and we didn't neuter him. And he found a neighbor's dog.
You didn't listen to Bob Barker.
He did not listen to Bob Barker. And this neighbor showed up like some months later, and she's like, "One of these is yours. Pick one."
Okay.
But yeah, I really like that scene because it comes back later in the film, like in a big way.
Oh man, that guy gets fucking wrecked.
I do want to ask though, before we get too deep into this, Smith, the beginning of the movie basically shows you how Ted, gets scratched and is going to turn into a werewolf, and we have this insane kill scene where his wife is murdered.
Yeah.
So since it's told from the perspective of the dog, does that change? Also, I want to talk about the unrated cut of this, so let's hear what the book has to say, and then I want to fucking break that down for you.
All right, there's a lot. You just asked a lot of questions. So for starters, how the book starts is we actually get the perspective of a bear.
Weird.
Yep, just chilling in the woods, doing his bear thing.
Hey Mowgli, that's a werewolf. We've got a split.
Just the bare necessities hanging out in Borneo jungle. Hey, how you doing there, werewolf? I'm sorry, not to put the cart before the horse, but tell me that the fucking bear fights the werewolf.
Oh, that would have been sweet.
Oh!
So the bear comes out of hibernation. He's super angry, like Razorback, right? He finds food. It's a little too early, though. And it's described as like he finds the carcass. He sees over, and they didn't eat the liver. Sean, you mentioned in the Werewolf in Paris video about werewolf legends eating hearts. That's in the book. So all this evisceration, all this like real messed up stuff is in the book occasionally, but it's mostly just to get to the heart. The werewolf only eats hearts.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, see, 2 years ago when I was spitting that information, I knew what I was talking about, even if I wasn't very confident about it.
He knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's very intertwined with vampire lore as well. The heart was always the mainstay for how to defeat a vampire and or werewolf.
So the bear, he finds the carcass here, and you're thinking like it's an animal. It's not really described as anything. And he looks around because he's a little fearful. He has like a premonition. Psychic bears too, I guess. So he takes...
What is he, from the fucking Dark Tower?
Well, I was going to say, not to be confused with the psychic bears from Psychonauts, or this fucking grizzlies floating around with psychic powers.
Or fucking, or the bear from fucking New Mutants either.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, excellent flick. It's very good.
I haven't seen it either. So he drags the carcass about a half mile, and as he's eating like the liver, he senses something, like he smells something sweet. So this is the reveal that it's a dead body he's eating. He pulls out a baby Ruth, or a Babe Ruth, I'm sorry.
Baby Ruth? Did he eat it's Chunk, right? He fucking ate Chunk?
It's a chunk bear.
The bear turns to the camera and just goes, "It's a bit nutty."
So wait. So where does this take place, Smith?
Well, that was the preface. It's actually never described. I imagined, because I looked up that he was from Jersey, I imagined it was northeast, but I know it's northwest in the film. It honestly can be either way.
Yeah.
The book describes it as like a suburbs, but there is woods in the back. The movie is a little bit more secluded. Like the neighborhood is like houses are much more separate in the movie than they are in the book. I imagine like I used to live in a suburban neighborhood smack dab in the middle of the Pine Barrens, and that's what I thought.
So how does Ted become the wolf in the book? Because right out of the fucking gate in the movie, it's not a secret. It's just like, oh yep, Ted's the werewolf.
Mm-hmm. So there is a little bit of like planting and payoff in the book, but it's like if you knew coming in and it's a dog versus werewolf book, you're gonna like it's obvious. But it's described as exposition as the family is driving to Ted.
Well, they do that in the film too, yeah.
How Ted, he went to Nepal, not the Amazon.
Yes.
They mentioned the Amazon in the film, I think.
It's funny because, okay, it's Borneo, technically.
It's Borneo.
It's Borneo technically, and I will tell you why when we get there, but go ahead.
Okay. So he's in Nepal, which has Himalayan wolves, so it's obvious like there could be wolves there. He's in the tent with Marjorie, his girlfriend.
They really are going to town, by the way.
You think that?
And so we don't actually see the attack.
Whoa.
We don't see the attack in the book, unfortunately.
Oh, no?
It's described as like he wakes up, the tent's torn to pieces, he has like scratch marks, but again, exposition, he's on trial, he is in prison for like a year, waiting on trial, and then he gets out.
Wow.
Yeah, like in the movie, like he just gets to go back home. It's like, no, there would have been an investigation because in the movie there's like guides and stuff, and there's a whole heap more people missing, and there's blood everywhere. Like
it is a whole year though, as we find out in the movie, but maybe that did happen. It's inferred.
I mean, again, I'm still like hung up on the fact that his wife or girlfriend or whatever literally gets ripped out of this Ted while she's about to climax on top of him, and gets literally shredded like a fucking like cheese on a cheese grater by this thing.
It is brutal in the film.
Let me lay this down for you, okay? Because this film originally got an NC-17 rating.
I would have to guess for this scene and maybe the one at the end when Dennis gets grabbed by the neck.
You mean this YA novel adaptation almost had an NC-17 rating?
Yeah. So it was specifically for the opening scene, right, guys? And again, I can't stress enough, if you're a fan of this film, if you've seen this film, please go grab that fucking Scream Factory Blu-ray because everything's on there. And one of the special features is the unrated intro, but it's only intact via VHS. So it's a VHS rip. So it's not like a fully restored piece of film, okay? However, so we open up and there's a title card that says Borneo, and it like comes in, and it's pretty much all the same. But the fuck scene, there is so much more fucking, dude. You see this whole chick's ass, and Michael Paré is grabbing this chick's ass, and it's like a fucking Skinamax episode movie, dude.
Was he wearing that sock that Lobo told us about? Did he have it on?
Oh, dude, he had to sock that Johnson, and let me tell you something. This chick, dude, he better fucking gorilla fucking taped his cock back, dude, because she is like, whoa, baby, she is grinding up on him something serious. Like he's got a handful of ass, and you see that. You don't see that in the regular cut.
No, you don't.
I love how the guides are just outside the tent too.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, we're listening to those American people fuck. But like, he hits her fucking doggy style. He hits her fucking missionary. He hits her all these different ways. Now, the big part for me, I mean, whatever, I can do without the softcore porn. But like, so the werewolf rips open the tent in this wonderful, wonderful fucking scary scene. Could you imagine being, you got this beautiful woman on top of you riding you, right? And this fucking like claw like silhouette comes and fucking slashes the tent open and fucking pulls this chick out of the tent, Okay?
I mean, it's definitely better than having proboscis just shoot into her ass and just suck her dry.
Well, that's true too, but these cats aren't rolling around on fucking Pringles and hot dogs, man. They're doing it the right way.
Yes.
I've been in parties, like bonfire parties, where me and Chickadee are in the tent, and then someone decided to put in firecrackers and Roman candles into our tent.
What? Are they insane?
So I know the feeling.
Smith, you could have got seriously burned.
I know. That's why I was yelling at them when I got out.
Roman candle, that's insane.
For 2 reasons. 1, for that, and 2, really ruined the vibe with me and her.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, that too. So the big thing with this scene for me, personally, is the extra gore. So the werewolf rips her out of the tent, and Ted immediately jumps out. Michael Paré immediately jumps out, and the fucking werewolf just slaps him in the chest, and he's just like completely gored on his chest with a big scratch, right? So the werewolf picks this chick up, and he's like biting on her fucking on her shoulder, and he's just like slashing her up and stuff. But like there's extra ripping of her up. And then, that scene, like, right at the end, right before fucking Ted blows its head off with a shotgun?
Where he just wallops her out of the air like he's fucking Umaga?
Where he picks her up and fucking wallops her down? Dude, right before that, there was a scene that was cut where he fucking rips her arm off, and the arm is just, like, shooting blood all over the place, and he just, like, throws it to the side, and then, like, screams in her face, and then wallops her.
Okay, so they leave the head decapitation in, but they don't leave in the arm rip off.
No, yeah. When he smacks her to the ground, it's whatever. But like again, that's what earned it the NC-17. And like even at the time, Eric Red was like, "What the fuck you hit me with NC-17 for? Like, have you not seen the movies in the past fucking 10, 15 years? In 20 years?"
Yeah, in '96, it's like. In '96, it's weird to slap a movie with that because like RoboCop has not only happened, but it happened 3 times at this point. Like
RoboCop, Maniac, Evil Dead, Dead Alive. I mean, there's just so many films.
Every Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
For those who know how the MPA works, it's never the same body when a movie's presented to him. So like this could have been like a really uptight bunch of people who are looking at this movie in particular.
Yeah, but there is a lot of fucking for sure. there's a lot of ass. Maybe I'll post the unrated clip on online, and then we'll get taken down.
I think it was Taxi Driver that Scorsese just like he kept submitting to the MPA. They kept hitting him with an X rating. So to combat this, he just kept giving them the same cut over and over and over again, convincing them he had cut things out. And then eventually they were like, yeah, cool, this works. And he never cut anything out.
It's possible, dude.
I think Psycho 2 with Alfred Hitchcock did that as well.
Yeah, he just beat them to death. Like,
But Smith brought this point up before, way in the beginning of the episode. This werewolf smelled them fucking. That's why it came a-calling, dude.
Oh yeah.
It was like, I smell some fuck going on. I want to get in on this.
I smell a rumpus.
And then when it actually got up there, it realized, oh wait, actually, I'm just gonna kill this woman, eviscerate her. Actually,
oh no, this was a mistake. Thor smells fucking. This book is oddly horny.
Yeah. Well, maybe the werewolf's horny too. That's what I'm saying.
It's possible, yeah.
Okay, so he shoots the werewolf's head off, and then we go back to Thor. So take us back on this Thor journey, Smith.
Yeah. Now Ted is scratched. He's a werewolf. There it is.
Yeah. So the book actually begins in Thor.
No guesswork.
After the bear, Thor perspective starts. We do get the Flopsy situation happen. This is where we get Dad, where like Wayne had to be a dad writing this, or this is like the book is almost dad porn at this point.
Okay, what, like daddy porn? You mean like?
And then someone touched the thermostat, and Dad was cross.
No. Oh God, no. What?
Like leather daddy? Yeah.
No. Well, there is a scene.
Choke me, daddy.
But Dad is always in the right, just because the situation applies for it. So what Flopsy is, they're going to the beach. Thor loves the beach, and
what? The beach.
They're planning on a trip to the beach. Thor, like again, Thor's the goodest boy. He's like, the beach. I love the beach. So the kids are playing outside, In comes creepy dude. Thor whiffs him, smells him, and is like, "Yo, this guy ain't good. I don't like him. He didn't shower." He talks about the education thing, and I thought that was weird. And then mom comes out, and then Thor's like trying to, like, the book is presenting like from Thor's perspective, where it's like, "All right, I'm not gonna growl at him. I'm gonna stand very stern, and then I'm gonna snarl my teeth a little bit, but not growl, and then I'm gonna do a little growl." Like, this is all Thor's processing. This is his thinking. It's just like, I'm here to defend everyone. You're
Different levels of intimidation, yeah.
Yeah. So how it's described from Thor's perspective is that the man put his arm up and going to go behind mom's neck when she looks down for something. And that's when Thor attacked his pant leg. Not his leg, just the pant leg itself, ripping the pants. And that's when Dad comes out. And Dad comes out, says, "I'm a lawyer." Then he threatens to call the sheriff, and then like explains that like I know your game here, I know what you're doing. But then like he like goes through this weird process where like he actually like writes up an itinerary for the pants and the situation, and talks about like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you $50 for the pants, and then we're gonna call it evens." And the guy's like saying, "F you," whatever. But then he's like, "Oh, what if I call the sheriff and say I saw you touching yourself in front of my children in the yard?"
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, he pulled the fucking pedo thing on him, huh?
Yeah, so like it's weird because like in the situation, he clearly is like, Dad's clearly like got this guy on a peg, right?
Yeah.
But like then you add the pedo thing, it's like that's a little
Extreme?
like it's a little extreme, Dad. Yeah.
He's a lawyer.
He is a lawyer for sure. You know what? I think I like the movie version better.
I prefer the movie version because it doesn't go that hard.
It doesn't go like into like a disgusting territory, but it like totally gets the point across,
Exactly.
It makes Janet like into a strong maternal figure in the context of a horror film, which I think is always important because like it's
And a woman, yeah.
Yeah, it is a necessary pivot from a screaming idiot to a force of absolute strength.
For sure.
So I think the dad not being in the movie only helps Janet's character in the movie tenfold.
Well, you got to think too. Now you're only down to really 4 characters if you count Thor.
Mm-hmm.
You have mom, son, Ted, and dog. That's it, really.
I think it's a testament to fucking Eric Rad, dude, taking this fucking story and really like cutting it down, but also keeping the edge and what makes the story so great.
Agreed.
But it's fucking baffling that's in the book. Like, what?
Well, it's baffling that he pushed so much together to make something that feels as tight and streamlined as it is. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any like. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice was made that hurt the movie.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah, it definitely, like, he took out bits and consolidated aspects down. I would say though, like, because Brett was 3 different characters in the book, you do have some scenes where like Brett is the teenage or like the 12-year-old Teddy from the book. There's a little Teddy who's named after Uncle Ted who Thor doesn't play with anymore, and Teddy, like, he resents Thor now because he's a teenager, and like Thor doesn't listen to him, and in Thor's head he's like, "You're not a man yet. I don't have to listen to you. I outrank you."
Your balls haven't dropped yet, buddy.
Thor does smell his balls at one point. It's like, "They haven't dropped yet, kid."
That's a great dynamic, though, that I do like.
So then, like, you have that aspect in little bits of the movie, but then you also have like little kid Brett, who is like, I think 8 or 7 years old, and like you do see that in the scene where like they're on the couch watching a werewolf movie. He's starting to sound like my little brother when he was like 5 or 6, where it's like, "Don't you know anything about like werewolves and stuff?"
Sure, yeah.
Oh, that scene is so good. It made me think of Return of the Living Dead, where it's like, yeah, this is a werewolf movie, but like, don't just assume the rules are the same as every other movie, because like, that's the point where Ted finally goes to stay with them after like they visit him at the lake. And, they're watching the literal Wolfman.
Well, they're watching Werewolf of London.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was the actual Wolfman. Shit.
Oh, okay, that was Werewolf in London?
Werewolf of London.
Yeah, that movie's actually mentioned it's mentioned in the book. Ted is doing research. Like in the movie, there's like a little lab. There's no lab in the book, but there is like mentions after the end of the at the end of the story where Ted like did research, called libraries, watched Werewolf of London, and it's just like a little drop reference. There's a couple of those in the book. Like,
so in the book, does he I guess just to put a pin on that scene, does he make the comment that, oh, well, in the movies it's got to be a full moon, but it seems like, any moon will do, or whatever he says, basically implying that even if it's a crescent moon, he transforms.
I love that.
No, I think it's full moon in the book. It never really, because we only ever get the time frame of full moons. We never get a conversation about other moons.
I love the idea. Yeah, I'm going with Joe here. I love the idea that it's not like the full moon is like, that's bullshit. Yeah, it's every fucking night, which makes the existence of being a werewolf even fucking worse.
Well, he makes the comment, he's like, well, it's a bad moon, because he's just saying every moon is, it's the title of the movie is like, it's just.
Well, yeah, but like to Connor's point, like you're exactly right, Connor. Like the fact that like not only do you like you become a little wolfier in the movies like towards the full moon, but like Ted's like, why a full moon? Any moon is good, because every night I turn into this fucking monster, and that's why he has to like go on a jog to tie himself to fucking handcuff himself to a fucking tree so he doesn't kill his family.
I gotta say something about that, though, because, like, once he's living at the house, I kind of love how, as that's going on, and I'm sure Smith will get into this a little bit more, but Thor is trying his damnedest to try to make sure that Ted doesn't move in, and, of course it happens, because it's the adults, the humans talking.
Not to move in, but he's protective. He's like, wait a second, something's wrong here. Like, you're not the Ted that I knew, and you're encroaching on my fucking pack. Like, what's the deal here? And previous to this, Smith, I want you to elaborate, but the first kill we get in the movie that we see, besides Marjorie in the beginning, his Ted's wife or girlfriend, whatever the fuck it is this surveyor who's like measuring trees.
This guy's an idiot.
In the middle of the night.
Let me tell you something, dude. Dude, it is American Werewolf in London on the moors in the best way possible. There's fog. We got a fucking crane shot going in this fucking woods, and this guy's just measuring. Why he's doing it at night, I don't know. But the one thing that stands out for me for this scene is that the werewolf is in a fucking tree. And he looks up, and the fucking spit is coming down its mouth and into this guy's mouth. And then he bites this guy's fucking head with the helmet on. And it's the force is so strong that it squishes the helmet and fucking pops this dude's head. It's awesome.
Also, it's so Predator. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the aftermath, too.
Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, the aftermath, he's like stuck. All his body parts are like stuck on fucking pieces of this fucking tree that Thor finds later.
Mm-hmm. So Uncle Ted is like the best ever, the best uncle. He's like a photojournalist.
Well, he's Michael Paré, so yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I just want to throw it out there now. I don't know if I said it already, but Mariel Hemingway is Ernest Hemingway's granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Oh, all right. Nice.
Which is bizarre. And she also had Eric Red, for lack of a better term, was not happy with her acting on this. But anyway.
Yeah, she's fine in certain scenes, and others just like, are you sleepwalking through this or what? Like, once the action heats up, she's really good, though.
Oh, she's really good at the end.
I mean, she is good. Well, that's because he used that tactic where he just like kept making her do the scene over and over again until she got pissed off, and then the emotion came out.
Oh.
But yeah, to Smith's point, so that was the first kill. So what do we got cooking here?
So they go up to see Uncle Ted, who's he's very reluctant to have people come over. He's isolated in a cabin, not in a trailer.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And Thor loves Uncle Ted. He's like considered part of the pack, but not part of the pack. Like, he loves them. But like you said, and this is, credit for the dog actor. Like, in the book, he goes up to Uncle Ted and he immediately knows that something's wrong when he says, "Hello, Thor." And it's like very sad, but he doesn't realize like what's going on. And it's weird. And he
knows an old dog when he sees one,
That's a good line. Unfortunately, it's not.
Oh, it's so fucking good, dude.
And it's not in the book.
I gotta say, like, just again, like, not to keep sniffing Michael Paré's farts, but like the interactions he has as Ted with Thor just get progressively sadder, and then they get fucking infuriating. Like, it's so good.
Oh, absolutely.
He's bringing it. He's bringing it.
His character, like, really, like, pisses me off, and I guess that's kind of, like, the point, is because in the beginning of the movie, and especially when Janet goes through his journal, you kind of start to see this guy's psyche over the last year and a half that he's been dealing with this. And it's like, at first, like, I mean, I guess when you see the journal entries, maybe this is less apparent. Like, maybe he's lost it a while ago. But early on in the film, it's like, as the audience, we know what the deal is, but, like, nobody else does. And he's kind of trying to keep it on the DL, like you're explaining, Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, as soon as, like, all those cops come in after he kills somebody, like, I guess it's this tree surveyor close to his cabin, he's like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I think the hiker is stuck to the tree. And to your point, Sean, Brett, when he's in the trailer and for their visit at the lake in the movie anyway, he comes across this like secret thing that Ted has, and it's like this little like pop-up laboratory because he has like this microscope and all of these vials of like, I don't know what, herbal remedies, blood, what have you.
He picks up a vial full of yellow liquid. I'm like, all right, Dennis the Menace just handled his uncle's fucking urine.
The werewolf piss.
He has a little House of the Dead, blood slide there.
Each one is still alive. Dennis the Menace fucking pulls out this lore book, this werewolf lore book.
Oh, yeah.
And I could not help but think that it was Montague Summers' The Werewolf. And if y'all don't know what that is, brush up on your fucking Montague Summers, man. And again, we talked previously about the Phantom Zone and 3M files, and I want my fucking werewolf episode where I can talk about Montague Summers and werewolves and the vampire in Europe and all of that shit. But that being said...
You hear that, Arlen Harrow from the Phantom Zone podcast?
You hear that, Arlen Harrow from the Phantom Zone, and that was on the Wraith episode? My point is, Ted was trying to figure out like how to cure himself.
Right, well, right.
And he had this lab in his fucking Airstream. But anyway, so how do they address that in the book, Smith?
There is no lab, and we find out like at the very end of the story, at the end of the book, that Ted was researching, visiting libraries, calling them up, being like, hey, you have any books on werewolves? But that's the extent of his research. He doesn't go to doctors. There's no journal entry. And I actually kind of have an issue with the journal entry.
Well, I mean, we can talk about that now, honestly, because I kind of want to talk about how he comes here to try to, like, his last-ditch effort is, well, maybe the love of the family will cure me for some reason.
I think that's really sweet, man. He's like, well, nothing would work. He visited a doctor who like took his blood and was like, I don't know what this disease is. And he's tried all like wolfsbane, quote unquote, or like whatever the fuck herbal remedy to try to fix this.
Sure. I mean, I want to hear what Smith has to say because I want to see how that's explained in the novel, but I guess...
Well, yeah, but in the film, he's like, oh, his last-ditch effort is like the power of love.
Right.
With his family, like maybe this is the answer. So he goes to stay with Janet and Brett to see if that will, because it made him feel so good to see them up at the lake.
Well, okay, right.
You know, so maybe that'll work. That's his motivation to go move in with them, quote unquote.
From a plot standpoint, you're 100% right. Like, yeah, that is his motivation. I'm just thinking from the perspective of, hey, if I got turned into a fucking werewolf and my options were this, or this. Like, okay, yeah, I could see he's, like, grasping for straws. Like, something's got to work to do this.
Well.
But I'm kind of, like, of the mindset of, like, well, I think he's being a little selfish. I get, like, his mind's probably shot to shit after everything he's been through. But it's, like, that thing where it's, like, I'm just putting a bullet in my fucking head or staying in the goddamn woods. I don't know.
I agree. The suicide thing, I think I would do before I moved in with my sister and her little son.
Because you're putting him in danger.
Yeah.
The character of Uncle Ted is much more tragic in the book than it is in the movie, even though, like, again, the actor's doing a really, really great job, especially when he's on the phone crying and it's like the police are there. Like, that was really, really good. Like, I felt that. But like as the movie progresses and he becomes more of the villain, the antagonist, versus like in the book, it's very much more of like he's just there and doesn't want this and is just tired. And it's very, very tragic at the end.
He literally has a pissing contest with the dog. I mean, at one point.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, literally. And he starts to spiral down that fucking thing, which I think you were just about to touch on, where it's a thing where Ted is trying to cure himself via the power of love because he's exhausted all aspects of it, but he doesn't. But in the movie, that obviously doesn't work. So then he starts to become fucking kind of unhinged. To the point where he's like, well, fuck it. I've tried everything. I don't know what else to do, and this is just kind of what I'm gonna do. Not suicide though.
I think his other thing is like, maybe it'd be good for me, but I think he underestimates how much of a threat Thor recognizes him as, and then he eventually, I think first he sees Thor as like, look, I'm sorry, like, old friend, but like, it is what it is, and then later on he's like, now you're an active threat to my sanity and my comfort, and I have to get rid of you.
Or an active threat to your pack, because he's like, fuck you, Thor, now you're getting sent away because you bit my arm.
God, I love the escalation between those two, because like it starts off as like just Thor being outside his trailer, like, the fuck are you on?
Dude, Thor catches him in the fucking woods because we got to bring this up because maybe that'll be easier to explain. So Thor fucking goes out and chases Uncle Ted into the woods after Ted goes on a jog, and Ted has handcuffed himself to a fucking tree, and he has turned into Ted Wolf. And Thor is there, and he's like, oh, I knew it. Look at you, motherfucker.
I love it. And like fucking when Ted looks at, God, the interactions between Ted the Wolf and Thor the dog are awesome, because like Ted the Wolf looks at me, he's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, and he's like, bitch, I'm the motherfucking alpha here.
Yeah.
Pisses on his fucking airstream.
There is that dichotomy between Thor and the wolf, especially in that first encounter. Like I said, there's no trailer, there's no airstream, there's an attic apartment above the garage. That's where Ted is.
Oh my god, what is he, Alf? What the fuck is going on here?
Hello, Thor.
I mean, the guy's a lawyer. He can afford an apartment above the garage, I guess.
No problem.
He does pee on the banister of the stairs towards the attic, though, to establish dominance.
He pisses in the house?
No, the stairs are outside the house.
Oh, okay. Well, he pisses on Thor's house in the.
That's the fucking best.
Yeah, he pisses on the doghouse in the movie.
No, Thor pees on the banister of the stairs leading up to the apartment to show Uncle Ted, like, this is mine. There is no doghouse peeing, but that was a great scene.
What if Dennis the Menace saw his uncle pissing on the dog's house?
That's what I was thinking.
That would break, obviously would break everything, but like after that point in the film, now that Thor's gone in the film, Ted is like, I won, I'm going to piss on the doghouse because he pissed on my Airstream, ? But then like Ted becomes like totally unhinged to the point where like he doesn't leave because he's been trying to leave the Airstream like early enough where he can go away from Janet and Brett and lock himself up, restrain himself. But that particular night, he like waits until it's dark.
Dude, he waits till the moon is out already.
Yeah, and I'm like, why aren't you already transformed?
Yeah, that's the second time he leaves late, and yeah, that's like a continuity issue, because before that, yes, he has to leave before the sun goes down, before the moon rises up. And if you think about it, it's kind of Thor's fault that he's not chaining himself up to the tree.
Yes.
That first time is totally his fault, yeah.
Yes, that is in the book, where Thor is outside waiting at the attic stairs, and eventually like he tries to go into the woods and do it, but it's too late.
Man, that is such an excellent scene in the movie where Thor's barking and Brett lets him out, Dennis the Menace lets him out, and he goes into the woods and he finds the fucking ripped shirt and the fucking joggers and the ripped up Nikes and the fucking handcuffs are on the ground, and then like Thor like realizes like, oh shit, the fucking wolf is back at the house, and he runs back, and the werewolf is just about to get to the house, and he like fucking attacks him, and then Mariel Hemingway like turns on the lights outside, and it scares the werewolf like into the woods after a little battle won, per se, I guess is what you'd say.
Yeah, it is definitely battle won. So first off, the werewolf is called, because it's all from Thor's perspective and he doesn't know what a werewolf is, Thor calls it the bad thing.
I kind of love that.
The bad thing. I kind of like that. I kind of love it too.
It has a very, like, Thor's chapters are very kind of simplistic and tries to like convey that point of view where it's like, dad is alpha, the family is the pack, The kids are the pups. The bad thing is not Uncle Ted. Like, they have different smells. Like, he smells around and it's like,
Oh. But he does confront Uncle Ted, right? Because, I mean, that's a big plot point of the movie, too, where, like, Thor knows something's up with Uncle Ted when he's a human.
yes, right from the get-go. The way it's described in the book is that, like, Uncle Ted, like, he averts eye contact, he slumps down, and Thor, he realizes, in his words, it's Uncle Ted is acting like a bad dog.
Uncle, okay, no, that's the thing. That's bad dog body language. It's like,
That's amazing.
it's also what it is. It's fear.
Yeah.
It's not just bad dog. It's fear, like, or it's intimidation, or it's uncertainty. Like, that's how we assess dogs in hospitals. Like, all right, because like a lot of people think like wagging tail, happy dog. No, wagging tail can mean a few different things, and that's what I think most people get hung up on. But like, yeah, other bits of body language are like are the ears go down, the head goes down, the shoulders go down. Like they're not looking at you, they're looking away. Like,
Right.
if I'm wrestling a dog, or not wrestling a dog, but I'm going to handle it, and one of the first things it does is breaks eye contact with me and throws its head to the side and is looking away from me, I'm like, nope.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Dog's gonna bite me. And the dog that bit me in the face was not looking at me when it bit me in the face.
That's good to know.
I had that too when I was a kid. A Rottweiler chomped on my head.
Ooh, whoa, that's my worst fear.
Oh, shit, man.
Ooh, yeah, that was a. You know what? I think everyone should have at least one bad dog experience, so you realize, like, hey, this is a living animal.
I'm good. I've had nothing but good experiences, and I'll keep them.
I got bit in the face twice. Once as a kid and once this past Saturday.
I had a golden retriever. His name was Buzz, and it was our first golden retriever, and he was sleeping on my bed. But what's funny about what you're talking about is, like, that's exactly the same mentality as Thor. I feel like this dog, Buzz, the golden retriever, had, where it's like above me, but I was a teenager.
Yep.
You know, I wasn't a man yet, what have you, but he was sleeping in my bed and he claimed it as his own, rather. And I rolled over one night, scared the shit out of me, woke me up out of a fucking sound sleep. I guess I was rolling over and he fucking went to go after me and he bit my forearm because I guess I woke him up or scared him or some shit. But yeah, that was the only interaction with a dog like that I've had.
And that wasn't that was, you can attest that to shock. Like the fuck?
Yeah, and maybe I scared him and he scared me, kind of thing. But
yeah, sometimes that's how it works. Like Goldens are like. Also, the thing with golden retrievers is most people are like, they're the happiest dogs ever. Like, no, they're actually in the top biters.
yeah,
Golden retrievers will bite you before a fucking pit bull will.
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, golden retrievers, dachshunds, rat terriers, and chihuahuas are among the breeds that will, like, okay, it's on a list that's entitled aggression. I don't believe in aggressive breeds. It is animals that are likely to bite you before someone else will.
Our golden retriever Boomer would never ever do that.
Yeah, it's just like so you meet, but I've met some where it's like, fuck that dog. Like,
Yeah, no, totally. So for the Flopsy thing, I just want to come back to that because this is the moment where the werewolf is loose now, right? Because Ted didn't get to the fucking tree in time, so he comes and they have that scuffle. But this werewolf is roaming around the outside of the house and and the fucking the Flopsy guy comes, and this scumbag's got a fucking meat cleaver, I guess, ready to fucking, I don't know what, hit Thor, kill the dog.
He's gonna kill Thor.
Yeah, he's gonna kill Thor with a fucking meat cleaver. But this werewolf, Ted Wolf, shows up and scares the shit out of this guy. He fucking slashes him up the front, cuts him in half in the middle, slits his throat, and also cuts his fingers off so they're all like hanging off, and then bitch smacks him into the fucking woods.
he gives this dude a dragon uppercut into the forest, and you never see him again.
Apparently he's on the side of the road. It was a goddamn homicidal maniac.
Sure you can.
So Flopsy actually survives in the book,
Fuck that guy.
Boo.
and he actually settles money with Tom, the dad character.
Oh no!
He gets $5,000.
Fuck him! I'm glad he dies in the movie.
It is way more satisfying to watch him get eviscerated because, like, yeah, he, like, as Joe was saying, like, in just 2 swipes, Ted fucks this dude up real badly. And I love how destructive it makes a werewolf attack look.
It is ferocious.
I love it too because the Flopsy guy, there's like a solid 30 seconds where he's just like completely like dumbfounded, and you see him like ripped up the front, and he's looking at his hand and his fucking fingers are hanging off, and he's like, oh my god, what happened?
Yeah, and like the way Ted attacks him was like he swipes him upwards, which wrecks his chest and his hand, and then slashes his throat, and then he just turns around and, like you said, like for a half minute, he's just like, and Ted's like,
what?
Ted's like, rah, just taking his fucking moment.
How is a lot of these scenes described in the book, though? Like, is it just from the dog's POV?
Well, Flopsy doesn't die, but...
So Flopsy doesn't die, but another character does die in this scene. It's Kitty.
Oh.
I fucking knew that was going to happen.
Kitty dies.
Come on.
Because that was my next question. I just assumed the cat was going to die, but I was wondering if any of the other characters died from the main family.
So let me describe Kitty to you so you feel as bad as I do.
Fuck, man. Why Kitty of all of the characters?
I know.
I think it's because you have to, at some point, you have to have the catharsis of Thor beating this thing's ass.
I guess so, but like they do it better in the movie. But anyway.
So Kitty is a little white kitten, newest member of the family. Thor tried playing with him by chasing him like a dog, but realized that doesn't work. So Thor sits down and lays his head down so that Kitty can lunge and hit his face and latch on, and that's how they play.
Aww.
I've seen this exact thing in this house, too.
Sometimes Kitty likes to explore and found himself in the food pantry where Thor's food is, and Thor, being the goodest of good boys, is trying to get Kitty out, but Kitty is scared. But Thor is just like, he's in there with my food. I don't want him to get to my food. So Thor nudges his nose into the food pantry and starts taking the cans of food out one by one, being like, this is my food. You don't go in my food, Kitty.
This is mine.
It is so goddamn adorable.
Oh, that's funny as hell. So go ahead, lay it on me. How does this fucking werewolf kill this cat, for Christ's sake?
From Thor's perspective, he rushes. Bear in mind, this is supposed to be a young adult novel. Rushes over to the house, and he hears the cat yowling and screaming, and the werewolf making lots of noises. And we find out later, like, we find Kitty just completely ripped apart without a head. Looking over at my cats right now, being like, you don't know how lucky you are.
Much better as Flopsy, in my opinion.
Much better.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, it's much better than Flopsy gets unbelievably ripped apart.
Credit to Wayne, though, the author, because this is one of those things where, like, it feels like you're planting something, because Thor goes after the werewolf. He bites the leg, so there's blood in his mouth, and the wolf runs away before anyone, like any adult, can see. Little Brett sees him, like the little kid.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, like, as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, Dad's gonna find the cat completely fucked up. Thor have blood in his mouth, and there's gonna be a big thing. He's gonna go to the pound because of it. Like, I'm thinking like all this in my head, thinking like, I got you, Wayne, I got you. But no. Dad finds the cat and goes to Thor and be like, did you do this? But Thor does not do bad dog behavior. He's not lowering his head down. He's not guilty of it. He just looks at Dad. And to Dad.
Because he's like, what the fuck, man? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. I defended you, and this is how you repay me. So, like, Dad recognizes, like, he didn't do it, which I thought, I did not expect that. But the next day, Thor smells the blood from Ted's leg that he bit and is like, oh, Ted is the bad thing. That's when it clicks.
Oh.
So then the next day, the attack happens where Thor attacks Uncle Ted, aiming for the neck. And he knows, like in the book, he describes, like, I'm going to do the worst bad dog thing ever to protect the family. And I'm like, Thor, I love you, bro.
Oh, he's going to kill Uncle Ted because he needs to.
He's going to try. And he misses and gets the arm.
He doesn't get his neck. Oh, okay. Okay, he gets the arm, yeah.
Yep. And Dad occasionally would throw...
Same as the movie.
Mm-hmm. But instead of throwing him in the laundry room, throws him down in the basement. And Thor feels bad because, Kitty died. He feels bad that he failed. He feels bad that everyone thinks he's a bad dog, and he feels like a bad dog. And he just wants to be a good boy, guys. So then He gets dragged to the pound.
Oh God, I'm
Okay, wait. Before you get to the pound, I just want to note that in the movie, Janet finds pictures that Ted has of Marjorie fucking ripped apart by the werewolf in fucking Borneo.
Yes, I will actually want to talk about that because that's not in the book, and I really don't like this part of the movie, or at least where it's placed in the movie.
It's the most movie thing about the fucking movie because it's like, why do you have that, dude?
Yeah, well, like, I get it, but not really, only because, like, it's a thing where Janet starts to think that Ted might be a serial killer, not a werewolf, but, like, maybe he's a killer of other things, because she asked the sheriff, like, hey, by the way, I know you're coming to take my fucking dog away because you think he killed this Flopsy guy, but do you think a man could have killed those 5 hikers up in Timberline? And the sheriff's like, nah, it was a fucking giant animal. You ripped him apart. It couldn't be no man.
It was a big brown snake or something.
It was a big brown snake, yeah. But it's that instance where, you know, Janet is thinking about the fact that, like, is Ted unhinged? Is he crazy? Did he kill Marjorie? Did he kill these people? You know, which I think is a pretty good element to the film story.
Yeah, and I also get, like, it's her brother. She may not just immediately go to the police. She's going to try to figure it out and maybe confront him, which she does.
She does. She fucking asks him straight up. She's like, hey, if I ask you a question, are you going to tell me the truth? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what happened? Where's Marjorie? And he says, oh, she's in Seattle. And she's like, okay. And obviously that's not true because she just saw pictures of her fucking mutilated.
Now that's the moment when I pick the phone up and make a phone call, not just like, I guess I'll confront him again in the woods when he leaves at midnight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it is her brother, Sean. That's the thing. Like,
maybe I just don't have that kind of loyalty. I don't know.
if it was your brother, you wouldn't be like, hey, man, what the fuck is going on? Before you call the authorities.
To your point, she just did. She just said, you wouldn't lie to me, would you? And he did. Well, the phone call's coming.
Well, to be fair, she goes after him for his jog, and she's thinking about taking that fucking revolver, but she doesn't.
Oh, man, she really shit the bed on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so the diary and the pictures are not in the book. That's completely 100% a movie thing. And I don't like where it's placed. If she found it after taking Thor away,
yes,
that would have made sense because that would have been her catalyst of just like, oh, I was wrong. Thor's protecting us, because your brother has a picture of his dead girlfriend mutilated and has diary entries of him blacking out and waking up covered in blood that isn't his.
Yes.
As a mother, as a supposedly smart lawyer mother, you know that this is an unsafe situation. Where it's placed, and she still takes Thor away after the attack, notices that her brother acts weird. I found, like, it took me out.
I would argue that it is a kind of this is my brother kind of thing, where if it was a stranger, obviously you'd be like, no, fuck this, man. I'm going to the fucking cops. But it's like, what is going on? And I need to know the truth, and I need to know what the fuck is... If I can help my brother, I will.
Right. No, yeah.
Even if he is a fucking serial killer, like, I want to try to help him before I call the authorities to put him away. You know what I mean?
I also think that also, like, it speaks to the cultural stance that animals are property and not part of the family.
Right.
Where it comes down to brass tacks, like, dog or brother. Even if it's a situation where the dog was right.
That's a great observation, Connor, because it's one of those things where the sheriff's like, yep, gotta put the dog in here, give me the dog. And she's just like, okay, we gotta give him away, Dennis the Menace. That's just the way it is.
And I don't want to get into detail of it, but, like, we had an incident at my hospital recently where it wasn't just me. Actually, the same day that I went home, somebody else got attacked.
Oh, shit.
We had a foundation dog that was there for just too long. And, like, sometimes they're there too long.
And they get agitated, and that's understandable.
They get agitated, and he got out, and he got a hold of somebody. Everyone's fine, but unfortunately, that dog's fate is not good.
Sealed. It's sealed.
It's sealed, yes. And, like, it's a situation where it's like, no, the law says this, so we have to proceed as this, where it's like they excise the gray area where it's like, okay, but this dog was here for so fucking long and the foundations won't fucking come and get it. that it's become this snarling, caged beast that lashed out, and, like, it could have been prevented. So, like...
Yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah, it sucks. And this situation, like, as a viewer, like, you know, you're like, no, Thor was objectively correct.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, it's almost telegraphed. Like, as soon as it happens, you're like, fuck. Like, I know exactly this is going to pan out. Like...
Yeah.
It's still sad. I cry every time I see this fucking scene.
I teared up hard.
It sucks. I fucking hated it. I hated it because, like, again, like, it's done so convincingly, and, like, the fact that, like, they had to take him out of the laundry room and they used 2 rabies poles. I fucking hate rabies poles. I can't stand using them.
Dude, there's this fucking, like, scene where he's in the laundry room and then it, like, slow dissolves to him laying down, and then it happens. So all this time passed where they were contemplating if they should do it or not.
Yeah, and the mom's being like, no, he's dangerous and blah, blah. It's like, no, he's not. Fucking good.
To Dennis, and Dennis is like, no, Mom, Thor's fine.
I hate it. And, like, the thing is, Thor's presence is so effective that as soon as he's out of the movie for a little bit, you're like, fuck, I miss that dog. Like,
How can you not miss that dog?
Yeah, not only fuck you missed a dog, but like fuck, these people are fucked. They are dead.
yeah.
I'm also, like, really curious to find out, like, do we get a bunch of scenes from Thor, like, in the pound? Like, how does that play out?
Yeah.
You get more than that, so...
Oh, no.
All right, get ready to cry, boys.
Hold on, before we get ready to cry, is there a big body count in the book?
No. The tree surveyor is a female hiker that Thor finds. That doesn't, like, really go anywhere, but it's the catalyst for why he goes to the house.
So they added to the movie.
They replaced a female hiker with the tree surveyor.
Okay.
And Kitty's Flopsy.
And Kitty's Flopsy. Okay.
And Kitty is Flopsy, and that is it. Yeah. Oh, and Uncle Ted. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway.
All right. So yeah, diary is not in the book. So when everyone finds Thor attacking Ted, it's just, wow, this is really unprovoked and crazy. We have to take him away. We find out that he was going to get euthanized the next day.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I that's what I figured, right? That's what happens to those dogs.
Well, no, there's a 10-day quarantine if they have to see if it's a rabies kind of thing.
See, that's what I thought. I was like, there's no way, like, the next day, but...
Which is why, like, what Brett does is totally believable because, like, he has a window. Like, typically, in the case of a dog attack like that, there should be a 10-day quarantine because we have to see if there's any more signs for rabies.
So he goes to the pound, and then we get flashbacks of Thor's childhood. And he realizes he was born in a pound. And he imagines the veterinarians picking them up and taking them away because he never sees them again. He imagines them as the angel of death, not as like a dream sequence. He just calls them that, and he gets picked up and he thinks he's going to go right, but instead he goes out to the front with everyone in the pound, and every animal is yowling and crying and everything, wanting to get picked. In comes the family, right? Mom, Dad, Brett, and the kids. Dad does not like. He doesn't want, like, a dog. He doesn't, like, he just wants to be here because the kids want a dog. Little Teddy, who is in the book resenting Thor, picks Thor, right? Which just makes it all ironic and sad that they don't get along anymore because he's the reason Thor is part of the family, because he fights with Dad saying, I want this dog.
Oh, no, he's Jon Snow.
On the show, let's clarify that, by the way.
Yeah, on the show. I did read the first 2 books, but I can't remember any of them.
Your great cousin's uncle's mother's ass, George R.R. Martin's very disappointed.
Former roommate.
He's so upset with me right now.
But it's ironic because Dad did not want the dog, and now they are best friends, and Dad is just can't go wrong and just loves Thor and is the one most heartbroken about this.
Man, this is that's so strange.
The breakout does happen where it's Teddy and Brett breaking in, and they decide to let all the animals go.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Liberation, motherfucker. Viva la resistance.
Exactly. But their thinking was because If it's just Thor, they would know who broke out the dog.
Sure, makes sense. Smart kids.
Yeah.
They open all these kennels and all these rabies dogs come out and just bite them to death.
Oh, they'd be somewhere else.
Alf is there, fucking dragging his fucking mug against the fucking chain link fence.
However, like, this does open up like an opportunity to have like an ending that I'm assuming didn't happen, which is like Thor leading a pack of dogs who then kick Ted's ass. Like,
Oh, that would have been great.
Oh my god, now you're talking, dude.
oh, that'd be so fucking rad.
Eat them up like kibble.
But this is where like I would have loved as a story beat where it's like, all right, so little Teddy proved his manhood. Thor respects him, right? No. No. What happens is that Ted is like, come on, Thor, out of the cage. And Thor's like, but I'm a bad boy. I'm not in the family no more. But then he's like, but Teddy's part of the pack and I have to protect him because he's so small and pathetic and I outrank him still, I guess, or whatever.
So I gotta do it.
Thanks, Ted. You suck.
Oh man.
Fucking weakling Ted.
So like, yeah, Thor's kind of an asshole at times because he's like, there's another point where he's like, there's like small dogs around him. And he's like, you're barely a dog. I'm a German Shepard.
Fuck you, dog.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's also right. So we're approaching the end of this, right? So the final battle.
Shreds. It's fucking awesome. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's rad. But the final battle consists of Janet finding Ted in the woods way after he should be fucking tied up to a tree or handcuffed to a tree. And during this, she's like, Ted, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, my secret's out, sis. Now you know. Now you gotta die. Sorry.
I love that he becomes a cartoon villain. Like, he's half transformation. He's like, well, you stupid bitch. He's like, I was going to come out here and just handcuff myself to a tree. But no.
Yeah, nobody could know now. Now you know you're going to tell everybody. So guess what? I'm going to eat you and your kid. And blame it on the dog.
And this is where you get these horrible transformation effects where it's like,
yeah,
I don't know, it's like a warp effect on the face and on the chest, and it's like interspliced with this awesome makeup. And again, like I keep joking about the shoe, the foot exploding out of the fucking tennis shoe.
Oh, it's so good. When that fucking foot comes out of that Nike, it explodes and it's awesome. But like, we talked about it in the beginning of the episode, but like, you know, Steve Johnson's XFX, they did like 8 or 9 makeups that they were that were given to the digital effects team, the compositing effects team, and they were supposed to make it good, but it just doesn't look right. And again, the director's cut excises this entire sequence where it's digital. So like you see the one makeup of Ted, you see the foot bust out of the fucking sneaker, and then it cuts. And then the next time you see the werewolf, he's like, he turns to the camera. It looks great.
You know what it looked like? Okay, so, like, say what you want about Guyver, but Guyver had a few great transformations when people were turning in from human to Zoanoid or human to Guyver.
All practical, though, bud.
All practical. And then Guyver 2 has that one shot where the villain Arlen transforms into a Zoanoid form in all CGI warp, and it looks like fucking dog shit. It's so bad.
It does look like dog shit.
Because in previous transformations, like, their clothes are ripping off, and, like, you can see that, like, their bodies are hideously transforming. Arlen goes from regular man in polo shirt to fully naked Zoanoid in just one gleaming effect, and it's so fucking jarring looking.
Arlen the Zoanoid, not to be confused with Arlen Haro from the Phantom Zone podcast.
Arlen Crane from the guy who, when he found out that he shared the name, freaked the fuck out over it.
Which is a great bad guy, by the way, in that movie.
Oh, I love Arlen Crane. He's so good.
So Thor runs home from the pound.
Well, yes, but Smith, what is the reveal like in the book to the family of Ted being the werewolf?
So understand, like, Dad does most of these scenes. So everyone's sleeping. Dad is waiting. Does not bring a gun. There's no gun in the house. Except
Ted Jr. and the other kid going to break Thor out.
Yes, no one knows about that. So they climb up.
So Mom and the young girl and Dad are at home. Okay.
Dad's waiting till Ted leaves and follows him in. And then we see he sees Ted about to apply the handcuffs to the tree. and is like the transformation is described as like dad is seeing like did his face just get more hair as I'm talking to him? That's really weird.
Oh, okay.
There's a line in the movie where Ted goes and Janet being like, oh, look at little Janet playing Nancy Drew over here, which is such a better line than in the book where Ted goes to Tom and is like, oh, Tom playing James Bond over here.
Ugh.
Sherlock Holmes. There you go.
Again, Eric Red coming through with the fucking better writing, dude. I gotta tell you something.
Ted saying that to Janet like in that way is like
It's condescending as hell.
it's condescending as hell because like it again I'm addressing the point that like this is a woman, this is a mother, and like he chose to tear down her entire her entire gender in one fell swoop. Like yeah,
A lawyer, by the way.
Well, yeah, but it's also the thing of like he's the little brother, and Janet has been they do this a couple times in the movie, but like she's like, oh, I'm always right, and he's like, yeah, you are, sis, it's super annoying, and this is kind of the culmination of that where he's like, yeah, well, fuck you.
yeah, and he throws it back in her face. It's like yeah, he's like, oh, you had to come out here, you had to be right. Well, guess what? You're right, and it's gonna bite you in the ass, literally.
And like I said, Ted had to be selfish.
I mean, as a little brother, I feel that. like as a little brother, I do feel that, but like the sister brother dynamic in the movie is kind of off.
Yeah.
Like if my sisters found like my handcuffs or whatever, like
Whoa, fucking titanium steel, maximum security, high tempered steel, Smith. What do you say?
My sister would run out of the room and bleach her eyes
exactly.
and never speak of that moment ever again.
My sister would be like, what is this, for a movie?
And she would look at me cross like just like a week after that and just be like, the fuck is wrong with you? Like
Yeah, a sister would not say, what does she say in the movie? Like, you're going to be really interesting to have around here. It's like, ew, no, why?
Yeah, I don't know. Is she gonna watch him in his Airstream fuck somebody?
But like that was just a weird dynamic. But it kind of made sense for, like to the brother-in-law and to Ted having this back and forth. Like it's dad that finds the handcuffs and he's like thinking like because they know Marjorie's dead and they think like, oh, that's a weird momentum, but okay.
Oh, they do know in the books. So what happens in the book with Marjorie? How do they know she's dead?
I think I mentioned where like there was like a trial and everything, and they knew. Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, they knew that she was dead. So dad sees the handcuffs and he's like, oh, again, whatever memorandum memorial you want of her. Okay, you guys probably had kinky sex, whatever.
Ugh.
oh, my fucking skin.
The book is weirdly horny.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. I think we're gonna get to it soon towards the end. But before that, the movie, man, this is the culmination. So we said how Janet confronts him in the woods, and in the book, it's the dad. But Ted turns into the fucking werewolf and chases Janet in the movie back to her house. And man, this is great. She runs back in. The gun that she was gonna take, but she didn't take, she fucking grabs, and this werewolf fucking busts through the fucking bay window, and it's amazing.
It's all very good.
It's a Friday the 13th set piece with a fucking werewolf.
Like, it's great, dude. And he chases her around. He chases her around the fucking the side of the house to go up the stairs, and she runs up the stairs, and it fucking like hits the banister and like breaks the entire banister and shit. It's very intense. It's really good.
It's not like like a typical werewolf for like, I don't know.
No.
It's like fighting a fucking gorilla. Like, this thing is just it's a brute.
Again, like, I can't stress enough the fact that, like, this is the best practical werewolf ever in film history, in my opinion, with the exception of American Werewolf and even The Howling. But this thing has a range of motion that those two just don't have, right?
The Dog Soldiers ones are great, but the Dog Soldiers ones are so numerous and, like, they're lit differently. This thing is so starkly lit. And, like, because you get that wide-eyed expression the whole time, it just adds to the fucking fear factor.
Dude, the eyes.
Yes.
Really get me. The eyes are like these big green bulbous eyes with these fucking pupils in them, and they're just again, I think I said at the beginning of the episode, but like the primal fear is in this thing's face.
It's not like a wolf man where like you can see Lon Chaney. It's an animal.
No.
It's 100% animal. Yeah.
It's a hybrid.
Yes. Yeah. It's a wolf on two legs. It's fucking scary.
It's an anthropomorphic wolf, is what it is.
With fucking biceps. Like
yeah, it's a bipedal fucking wolf, dude. It's disturbing looking because it's
yeah.
We didn't even really go over this, but like, there's minimal hair on this thing. Okay, it's a man body with like scraggly wet hair, and that has always stuck with me. It's so creepy. And again, Steve Johnson's like original experience, or his original inspiration, just like carried through to this so much that like it reflected on me, and I was like, that. If there's another werewolf, like, it has to be just as good or better than this one.
Yeah. And so it makes it look less like a lycanthrope, more like a fucking mutant. Like, it doesn't look supernatural at all. It looks like a fucking mutation.
Agreed. She fucking drops a grandfather clock on it, and it just, like, smashes it. And she ends up running into the kid's room because she thinks he's sleeping, but he's gone because Brett went out to go save Thor.
That happens, only she runs up to Debbie. She notices the kids are gone and like goes over to Debbie.
Oh goodness, the little girl's still upstairs, right?
Yep. And Ted and Tom, the dad, do have like a fight through the woods. Tom manages to outrun it a little bit during the transformation. And he throws some rocks at like its face, breaking some cheekbones, hurting the ear and stuff.
Oh fuck! Ow!
He climbs a tree. And this, I guess, is where they got the idea for the tree scene. So the Ted Wolf, he tries to climb, but Tom, smashes on the knuckles, trying to keep him off.
Oh, shit!
But then he's thinking. Ted Wolf is thinking and runs back to the house.
Oh, easy fucking prey.
Mm-hmm. Mom is outside wondering what all the commotion is, why no one is in the house, and then sees Ted Wolf. Runs back in, grabs a butcher knife, runs up the stairs, can't find Brad, can't find little Teddy, goes to Debbie. And it's like the movie, almost like perfect recreation, smashes through that door, just bum rushing it.
Oh.
And then here comes Thor, jumps right on its back, and they have like this fight in this really tiny room.
Yes! That's such a great part of the movie, dude, because like, so Mariel Hemingway like goes into Brett's room and the fucking werewolf comes up and like smashes through the door. Now this is the first time you see it in like a full stark light, and you can really see just how great this werewolf looks, because if it was any other design, I feel like it would have fell apart completely. But it's even more scary because it looks like a fucking, I don't know what, a man wolf with mange? And it's just like this wild-eyed fucking monster in this room. And again, the kid comes up, Brett comes upstairs, and Thor comes upstairs, and it's this is the final battle, right?
Well, he grabs Brett by the throat and lifts him off the ground like he's about to rip his head off.
It's fucking scary, dude. He grabs Dennis the Menace and picks him up by the throat. And then Mom's like, get the fuck off my son! And she shoots him with the fucking,
She shoots him 6 times!
6 times, dude. She's got that fucking Loomis school, dude.
She empties that chamber on him.
Yeah, oh, she sure does. But Thor fucking beats his ass. And this is the scene I was talking about earlier where Ken Kersinger's in the suit and they had that fucking Russian border attack dog run at him, and dude, they're like bare knuckle fighting in this fucking scene.
Yeah, it's a good scene.
Thor gets thrown into the fucking lamp on the ceiling, and like she shoots the shit at it, like Janet shoots the shit out of it, and then Thor like jumps at the werewolf, and they fucking blow out the window and fall down the fucking roof and like off the roof.
That scene is fantastic because like she unloads the fucking gun on him, and like Thor is like not incapacitated but like catching his breath.
Yeah.
Ted is just taking like 6 shots to the chest, and he's like, that hurt, but here I come. And Thor, and it specifically cuts to Thor looking off the ground like, yeah, no. And then just runs and fucking tackles this fucking werewolf through a fucking...
Dude, out the fucking window, down the fucking roof, and onto the ground.
God, it's such a fucking good-looking stunt, too.
Dude, it looks great. And then we have this wonderful scene where, like, the dog is beat up, the werewolf's beat up. We have this kind of, like, King Kong heartbeat thing going on in this scene.
And Thor looks like, the initial shot is like, oh no, the dog's dead. And then like,
yeah,
the wolf starts moving. And I like how Ted Wolf is like, yeah, fuck this. And
I'm getting out of here because I'm going to die.
I've been shot 6 times and I'm getting my ass kicked by a dog. Like, I'm out of this fucking shit.
6 times!
He gets up to leave and Thor sits up like, motherfucker. Like,
bitch. So Ted Wolf goes out to the woods and the morning comes and
I love that the implication is that Thor got up and searched for his ass all fucking night.
Well, he's already done it before, right? So the werewolf, so Ted Wolf turns back into Ted, and he's beat the fuck up, dude. I mean, Michael Paré has bites and bruises all over him. He's half dead. He's mostly dead.
Kudos to Paré for physically going all in on this, like whenever it was possible, like to be covered in that much like just gunk.
Oh, and P.S. He was like he even said in his interview, he was like, yeah, I was up at 4 a.m, got into my makeup for 8 hours, did my scenes for 12 hours, took all the makeup off, went to sleep for 4 hours, and then woke up at 4 again to fucking get back in the makeup. So
damn.
Yeah, man, he was a trooper for sure.
Dedication.
He's in the woods, and Thor rolls up on him, and Ted's just like, fucking do it, just kill me, end this. Do it, kill me, I'm here. Do it, kill me, end this. And Thor does, rips his fucking throat out and kills his ass.
I love the initial, like the pause. Like Thor walks up to him and it's not like, he's not doing bad dog face. Like he's looking at him like just very plainly.
No, he's actually ashamed, kind of.
Yeah, he's looking down and then like he's like, Paré, like Ted looks at him and he's like, finish it.
Yeah, because he's like, you're my Uncle Ted, I love you.
Yeah, and there's a growl and then he runs towards the camera. I like that they don't show anything because like I feel like watching Thor viciously murder this man as a human being would be traumatizing, but like...
Also, it doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it. Like, yeah, and it's a fucking hero shot with a dog. Like...
Yeah. So Smith, how does this fucking end, dude? So we just described to you the end of the film. How does this end in the book?
So mom gets her, there's no like, get the fuck off my son, but mom does get like the big defending mom moment, but instead of a gun, uses a butcher knife on Ted's back, so just at it.
Oh my god, she stabs the werewolf
like a whole bunch of times, and then
that's amazing.
And that combined with like Thor biting and slashing at him, like Ted Wolf looks at this and he's like, all right, I'm out, and starts running. Then Thor follows, tracks him throughout the night, and then like the same thing happens. They meet up. Ted is alive, but obviously still smells like the bad thing in Thor's mind. And Ted is like being like, Thor, we meet again. Just do it. And like you said, kills him off.
Is it visceral in the book?
Yeah, rips out his trachea.
Oh, he straight up rips his fucking throat out. Yeah.
Right out. But then it's not over. Thor passes out and you think like, oh no.
Is he like all like just exhausted from the affair, I guess?
Exhausted, yep. So this is where we find out about Flopsy settling for $5,000 because Tom, dad, is on the phone.
Fuck that fucking scumbag.
It's like a prologue, right? Or an epilogue. I'm sorry, epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah.
Then he talks to the sheriff, and this is where we learn about Ted doing research in the libraries.
Oh my god, they don't tell you that till the very end? Shit.
The sheriff asks them, like, okay, what happened? And they're like, Ted got attacked outside by this crazy animal. I don't know. And sheriff is like, you're defending someone, aren't you? And Tom, being the lawyer, is like, well, I may or may not be. This is off the cuff, right? Well, no, not really. So they go in a back and forth. And this is the part where I'm like, I'm very iffy about. Thor is in the basement and he's not eating. he's not eating, he's not drinking, and he's like soiling himself. And you would think like, is he sick? Is he infected with werewolf or whatever?
Maybe.
In the movie, there's that really nice jump scare that was really good.
We'll talk about it. Hold on.
It's just that Thor is really, really sad. He killed Uncle Ted, so he did.
He feels like he betrayed the family, is what you're saying, right?
In the book, it's described as like there's dad's law and natural law. And natural law is you defend the pack, but you don't kill within the pack. And technically, Ted was within the pack, so he defied a law. So now he is bad dog, and that's what he thinks himself as. He doesn't deserve to eat food, doesn't deserve to drink.
Oh, what a good boy.
He is the goodest of boys.
Oh.
But like this is like a week of him not doing this, so he's frail and everything. And then in comes Tom downstairs, drunk, just sad that Thor is doing this, and is like demanding Thor to eat. And this is when like Thor's like, all right, and starts eating the juicy red steak that Tom's been giving him.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
There's some steak in the fridge. I fucking want some right now.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm thinking about it.
So it's like a whole chapter of just being like, he's just really sad. And Thor has to be a little humanoid in order for us to like get his perspective and everything. And I get that. But like how it's stretched down, how it's explained, it's almost too much of a suspension of disbelief. Like a dog can feel guilty. I can get that. But like how it's set up in the book, it just kind of, I was hoping like maybe he was sick or something. Like I love the fact that he's alive at the end. He's alive. And the last line is like, you're a good dog, Thor, from Dad.
Fuck yeah.
He is a good dog.
Okay, well, that fucking rules, dude. That's very affirming to the dog, too, because it's like...
It is, yes.
Like, oh, I just fucking killed Ted, who's part of the pack, but he's also a werewolf. He's also the bad thing, P.S., and he was going to kill the whole family. Yeah.
But like everyone like the book describes like everyone's showering him with affection. Everyone loves him. Like everyone's like they're all telling him, you are a good boy, you are a good dog, you did good things. Everyone, including Dad. But then at the end, Dad just is like, you're a really, really good boy. And Thor's like, okay, I am.
Oh, dude, is he giving him Red Rocket? He's fucking jacking his little thingy off?
Wow.
No, that's earlier.
Almost went a whole episode without having to go down that corner.
He's jacking it right into Mom's mouth. He says, just open up, honey. Open up, Janet.
This is Kumdar's actual origin.
He's giving him the fucking lipstick, dude. Put it, smearing on my lips, good boy.
He just needs a little hair gel. Come on. Pours it in his hair.
So in the movie, Janet, Mariel Hemingway, does the same kind of thing to Thor, like, oh, you're such a good boy. Oh, you did such a great job, blah, blah, blah. And then Thor is like a dog werewolf, and this creature thing is like, bleh! and then she wakes up.
And then Jabba slaps C-3PO, and then he's like, stupid protocol droid, and then Salacious Crumb is like,
K-1 get Chewbacca. Yeah, but, you know, I love that idea. I love the idea of a werewolf being able to kind of pass that on to another animal. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the diseases that are born in other animals that we kind of
zoonotic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Zoonotic diseases are diseases that can be passed from animal to human, and I believe human to animal.
Correct. And like lycanthropy, I don't know, like it's never been explored that I've seen except this movie.
Wes Craven in Cursed.
Oh, fuck that movie, dude.
But there is a were-dog.
Yeah, but somebody saw this movie and was like, oh, remember that movie that nobody gave a shit about, Bad Moon? Were-dog. But yeah, there's a were-dog in this, and it's a dream. But it's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was a good jump scare because, like, you have you're such a good boy, dog. You're such a good boy, Thor. And then, rah,
Brack!
Well, also, like, I'm glad it's a jump scare and not, like, the ending, because, like, what a fucking bummer that would be.
Yeah.
I know, but what a great ending, because Thor's all fucking bandaged up, and Mom and Brett are there, and they're like, oh, you're such a good boy, and everybody's okay, and everybody's loving each other and petting the dog and shit, and that's fucking sweet.
Also, like, it's a movie that fights the urge to kill the dog. Like, it bucks that trend so hard and so efficiently and so cathartically. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Like,
He's the hero. He's the hero, Connor.
he is the fucking... It's a superhero movie where a dog is the superhero. Like,
Yeah, which people didn't understand when they fucking saw this, and like, that's stupid. And it's like, no, it's actually brilliant, you fucking idiot.
Like, how could you kill the dog? You can't kill the dog.
But to Smith's point, like,
The Red Rocket or the fucking...
oh yeah, like in the book, it's like, oh, you're a good dog, Thor. Give me, yeah, okay, that's great. Here you go, have some beef or something.
Oh, yeah, the ending. Like, it's... Like, you go through pages and pages of everyone trying really hard to affirm to Thor that he did a good job. And all it took was drunk Tom by himself just saying it over, but more affirmatively, like more assertively, just being like, you get over here, eat this food, and I'm going to cry and be sad and just eat it. And then that's where it clicks.
I'm not Uncle Ted. Eat this thing. You're fine. You killed the bad thing. You're good.
you killed Lon Chaney Jr. You're a good dog.
So where are we putting this, fellas?
Fucking shelf. This is one of the few movies we watched where, like, it already had its place, like, well before we even approached this. Like,
Oh, yeah.
this was one of the movies that, like, I gobbled up from the video store that I have the same level of built-in nostalgia for it that, like, Joe has for all these, like, other, I would say weird-ass movies that we've watched this year, especially.
Also this one. Go on.
Yeah, this one too. Like, God, like, this is, like, this set the standard for, like, when I was a kid, I was like, that's it. Like, this is the bar for werewolves. Like, this is to this day, I have not seen a better looking fucking werewolf.
It hasn't been matched since.
No, and, like, it's mostly because, like, they don't film a werewolf like this. They don't film werewolves, like, up close and, like, in light and, like, just this much of a suit. It's also just, like, it's an effectively small movie where it takes place, like I said, primarily in the woods and someone's backyard and a house. And the cast of characters is small, so it creates this very intimate setting. And very much like Late Phases, when you shrink the focus down to something a lot more intimate, like, you can take it, I would say, a lot more seriously, because then it's not just like, it's not a werewolf movie, it's a threat to it, it's a family threat. Like, it's defense. It's like a home invasion kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, get out of my space, but you spin it from a mother or a father or a sibling to a fucking dog. And it immediately grants this, like, novelty value to this movie that I don't think I've seen
Ever.
anywhere else ever. Like, I can't think of a movie where the dog is the hero against, like, some kind of, like, a threat like this. Like, and it's not a Disney movie.
Right. I was gonna say it's a Disney movie.
It's not a fucking. it's not a Homeward Bound movie. It's not a fucking kids movie. Like, it is taking the idea of a dog as a protagonist as seriously as it possibly can and runs to the fucking hills with it and doesn't really trip up, like, outside of, like, the effects or anything like that. Like, narratively, it's very tight. The characters are fine. Michael Paré is just great.
Oh, yeah.
And like we said, like, the dogs playing Thor they're astounding. And this is such a unique kind of, it's a movie dumpster ass movie because to me, it is a werewolf movie and a horror movie that you aren't going to find. It's an experience you're not going to find anywhere else. Like, this is very pure, and nobody, I think, has done this concept and this execution better so far.
I don't think anybody's talked as in-depth about this film as we have.
No, which is fine, because, like...
No, but that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
It's a good thing, because, like, it's... For all the shit we heap on Frankenstein Unbound, like, that's a movie that really it's a show defining movie because like we did find this
Yeah.
weird fucking movie that like in that movie is regard it's not as successful, but like this like it's so good and deserves to be chattered about as much as possible, and like it's not talked about enough. And when you do meet people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Bad Moon." It's like, yeah, well, how much do you love Bad Moon? Because I guarantee you, I love it more. Like,
Well, it's also the thing of like, what's your favorite werewolf movie? Does this even come up?
yeah,
And if it does, like, kudos to you. But like, I don't know many people. I mean, 2/3 of this podcast have, or right now, 2/4 of this have not even seen this fucking movie before we recorded this.
Yeah.
I would put it on my shelf.
All right.
I would put the book on my shelf as well. Just not near any of my children's books.
That's so bizarre that it's a young adult novel, a YA. Yeah.
it's a YA novel.
It is, because I mentioned the word dad porn before, and what I meant by that was that like dad is the hero. Dad knows best.
Daddy, leather daddy porn. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the person who would enjoy this most would be like your typical dad at the barbecue talking about like, yeah, I read this book, Thor. It's great. It's about a dad who's really awesome and his best friend Thor, and they fight a werewolf, and it's great. And then there's also like the sexual aspects of it and the violent aspects of it. Like obviously beheaded kitten, eviscerated bodies. And like Thor smelling the sex of mom and dad all over the house, because apparently when the kids go to school, it's like, oh, it's clothes are off all over, kitchen table, rug, everything. And Thor loves it because it's like they're the mating pair. It's like, I don't need to know, Thor. I don't need to know that you're loving that your pack parents are going at it. And then, of course, I sent you guys in the message the choking scene, the choke me daddy scene.
Oh, God, the choke me daddy Thor scene, yeah.
All right, so the context is that Thor has been acting weird. I think at this point he's either growling or he nipped at little Teddy to get to Ted. So Dad's janking this choke collar. In the book, he has a choke collar at all time. So this is the only thing I'm going to read from the book on this podcast.
Go for it, man.
All right. So he's grabbing him. He wished he could make his tail stop wagging, but he couldn't even slow it down. The best he could do was restrain it a little, so it thumped the floor a little less loudly. His tail wasn't wagging from pleasure, of course, far from it. It was the intimacy of his engagement with Dad that made his tail move.
I hate it.
For this awful moment, only he... Let me keep going.
Okay.
For this awful moment, only he and Dad existed. There was a certain terrible excitement, almost a sexual feeling to the situation. As miserable as he felt, he almost got an erection.
Oh, Red Rocket, dude. Lipstick popping.
That you can take all that and you can throw it into a fucking volcano. We fucking need that.
Yeah, don't need it.
And then throughout the other parts of this page, he's like calling Thor a bad dog. And I'm like, yeah, Thor is a bad dog, isn't he? And I'm like,
Thor's the baddest dog. He's a bad dog. He's a bad dog.
he's a bad, he's just British.
Your dog's a good dog and Thor's a bad dog.
He's got his hand on the shaft, dude. He's fucking going up and down. Who's a bad dog?
Tell me I'm a bad dog, Dad. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I said it to you because it's so just out of nowhere.
It's fucking bonkers, dude.
It's like that part in Orca where it's like,
Oh, yeah.
occasionally thought, but not all the time, he like what his sister's like in bed.
I kind of want to fuck my sister, and I want to fuck the dog, but who knows?
Oh, God.
Is it a sin to fuck a dog?
I mean,
Is it a sin to fuck a werewolf? Maybe.
it doesn't take away from the overall pleasure I have with the book. Wayne, he's really good at plotting things in and like planting it and then paying it off at the end. Like I said, I was surprised that Kitty wasn't the reason that Thor went to the pound, because it's all set up there that he has blood in his mouth, the cat's there, but that doesn't happen. There's also like plants of like the bear finds a carcass and like you expect it to be a corpse and it happens. It's like, oh, okay, I'm awarded my guessing game because I know the tropes. But it's a fun little read. I don't think $20 worth for a collector item for Joe. It's definitely worth it. Fun beach read, especially since they have a beach scene in the book. The movie too was very fun. Like I think I was the one who was most negative about it, but it was just me having some fun, poking some fun at it.
Sure.
It is a pleasant surprise because I said in the beginning, like, I don't know many good werewolf movies, but I prefer werewolves over vampires. But people always go for there's always a vampire movie. You don't see many werewolf movies.
Oh yeah, because it's just easier to do.
Yeah.
Throw some fangs in that fucker's mouth and he's vampire. But to do a werewolf is complicated and difficult for sure.
Exactly. So when it's done right, it's done right. This movie was done right.
Yeah, it's totally on the shelf for me, 100%. I mean, just in comparison to the novel, like, I think Eric Red has did an amazing job at adapting that novel into a more concise, very streamlined type of film while keeping the essence of the novel in a real way. And goddamn, Steve Johnson coming with the goods and Bill Corso coming with the goods. This is my favorite werewolf on film to date. Has not been topped yet. Ken Kersinger in the fucking suit doing the thing. Excellent fucking movie. Not my favorite werewolf movie, but my favorite werewolf on film. And it's been on the shelf for many years, and we've been talking for more for a long time about it. So, oh yeah, on the shelf, 100%.
Yeah, this movie's absolutely on the shelf. I heard about this movie for a while, and, you'd occasionally see clips on YouTube because, if you follow the genre or even the subgenre, if you will, of werewolves and you're on YouTube, you might see some shit whether you want to or not.
This is fact.
So I saw a couple scenes here and there, over the years of, Thor going and, one-on-one with the werewolf, but I had no context for any of that, and
It didn't spoil it for you, did it?
No, not at all. Like, because especially when you find out the uncle's the werewolf right in the beginning, it's like, oh, okay, that's nothing.
Yeah.
And just watching the movie and sitting down with it and finally, watching the whole thing in one sitting for the show, I really enjoyed it a lot. And I don't know, I don't really have a ton to add. Like, the directing is really good on this. The camera work's really good. The lighting especially.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, jump out in a way of, like, the colors of the lights. It's just the way it's utilized a lot with the fog. I really like that. And just the characters are really cool. And again, like, any, like, really intense scene or action sequence just really gets you sucked in. That maybe it's not coming across the way I'm trying to say it, but I hope you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's very enthralling and scary.
Everything is working in favor of something else that's like all the pieces are working together cohesively and like almost flawlessly, I would say.
Yeah, and all the corners are cut from the novel, and that's what makes this movie nice and tight and excellent.
It's very concise and tight.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on the shelf. I really don't have anything else to really add. Check it out.
For sure. And Smith, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on YouTube with the show Taking a Page, where I talk about books and adaptations and the history behind them. Look out in the future for videos about Dracula. But if you want some goodness about another famous monster, I got some Frankenstein videos up where I talk about Frankenstein Unbound, the book. But if you want the folks over here, Movie Dumpster, and see what everyone looks like, Connor with a skeleton.
Yeah, good luck.
Check out the Orca video. That was actually a whole lot of fun, guys. That was a really fun episode to do.
Oh, for sure, dude. And where can everybody support you? Financially, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were doing that. Patreon.com/CB Smith Taking a Page. I'm using the funds over at Patreon to help pay for a laptop that I've been using to record tonight, which we've had technical difficulties.
Please go support Smith in his endeavors. He's an excellent dude. He wants to give you the goods. He wants to make good videos for you. Go support him on Patreon. And you know what else? You know who else is on Patreon? Movie Dumpster.
Who?
Patreon.com/Movie Dumpster. Go and sign up for our $5 or $10 tiers. You get access to our watch-alongs, our commentary tracks. You get yourself some Movie Dumpster swag. Sign up for that $2 tier. You get mailbag videos, minisodes, all kinds of good shit. And we are on the cusp of our Trick or Trash month, folks, okay? We're going right into it, so stay tuned. Dumpster Goblin's coming back. We're going to review some great movies. We're going to have a great time.
I love the Dumpster Goblin.
Oh, dude, it's going to be a fucking blast.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And guess what? For no money at all, you go to that Apple Podcast, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a review. Because you know what? It helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster and into more eardrums. And that is more that is worth more than probably anything else you can do. Go leave that review, please.
So we have a new episode of After Dark coming out pretty soon. I think Arlen's calling it Connor.
Is that the Phantom Zone?
This is the Phantom Zone podcast. Yeah, the one that features Arlen A. Haro.
Oh yeah, and Hunter Davenport. Yeah.
This one is entitled Connor Goes to Jail because I opened the show with a reprehensible joke that ties us into talking about Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2 and how illogical and weird it seems that they made a fucking sequel to that movie. We talk about Venom, we talk about Matrix, we talk about a lot of stuff and what I would consider a plus-size episode. It's probably one of my favorite episodes we've done in a long time. Also, we're going to be returning to the thing that we recorded about 12 episodes for, I would say, maybe even 10, and then did a hiatus for, and now we're going back to do more. It's the 3 AM Files. It's kind of our we're scratching the spooky itch kind of thing. We're talking about weird stories. We're talking about supernatural stuff. We're talking about anything that kind of floats that fancy. And it's got a really cool aesthetic to it. It's something we take a little more seriously. You know, we don't have a lot of the toys that we have over at Movie Dumpster. Eric records from his phone because he just likes doing this. But it's something we put a lot of thought and energy into, and so that's coming back at some point. I think we're going to be dumping like a lot of episodes at once coming up once it's all done. So we're going to be doing that over the course of the next like few months or so. So please look out for that. And if you like this show and you like me at all, I don't know why, but if you do, and you've liked Arlen or Hunter after they've appeared in the shows, please go look up, dig through the Phantom Zone catalog. It's fucking huge. It is massive. We have produced, like, between me, John Scott, Luis Gonzalez, John Seiler, like, all those, between this mega team that we've kind of inadvertently assembled over the past, like, 4 or 5 years, like, there's a fucking girth of content we've made. That if you just want somebody to burn through, if you want some new content to listen to, like, there is a fucking ton of it. So please give my first podcast child some love, especially as we're getting more excited about doing some new things. So yeah, that's about it.
Oh hell yeah, dude! And then Sean and I are gonna be over there for that fucking 3 AM Files.
Yes, Sean's been on an After Dark once, and that was a delightful episode. We haven't got Joe on yet, but we will.
No, we haven't got me on yet because I got fucked on that werewolf shit. So we're bringing it back. We're doing it, baby. Here it comes.
We might even get Sergio on there because Sergio's been listening too.
Oh, let Serge come on. Yeah, fuck yeah, hell yeah. Also, don't forget, send all your goodies to Movie Dumpster at P.O. Box 918, Bangor, PA, Bangor, Pennsylvania, 18013. If you want to send us some good stuff, and we'll open it up on our mailbag videos. So that's it. That's Bad Moon from 1996, directed by Eric Red.
If you want some more good, bad, and god-awful movie goodness, head over to MovieDumpsterPodcast.com and follow us on all of your favorite social media and streaming platforms.
You can also head on over to our Patreon page and sign up for the $2, $5, or $10 tiers for monthly exclusive content, or drop by our merch store and grab yourself some non-committal swag.
Yeah, for no money at all, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts to support your favorite show. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor McGraw.
And I'm CB Smith.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.